The following is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
Hey, what's up? This is Jeff Cobb, and you're listening to Keepin' It Strong Style.
Yo, this is Rich Latta from One Nation Radio. This is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network. We present to you the Ace of Podcasts, Keeping It Strong Style. Let's go. It's the Ace of Podcasts, Keeping It Strong Style. Covering New Japan, they ready to hold it down. Jeremy Donovan and the young boy Josh. Come and hit a job out and bury all the frauds. From the Tokyo Dome over to the G1. Social Suplex is the network where we can get it done. I'ma chill and let them have it, cause this is just an intro. Keeping the strong style, 6 stars from the get-go, boy. Yeah, from Tampa Bay to the Tokyo Dome, this is Keeping It Strong Style with your hosts, Jeremy Donovan and the young boy Joshua Smith. And thank you for listening.
Welcome to Keeping It Strong Style, the Ace of Podcasts on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. Jeremy Donovan here with the young boy Josh Smith and Trish Speirs from the Trish and Sarah Wrestling Podcast. On today's show, we'll review Dominion and cover all its news in the world of New Japan Pro Wrestling. Please support our show by subscribing and following the Social Suplex Podcast Network and Keeping a Strong Style on the podcast app of your choice and leaving a rating and review. You can also get all the network's podcasts and newsletter over at socialsuplex.com. If you enjoy this podcast, please consider making a one-time or monthly donation by visiting socialsuplex.com/donate and clicking on the donate button under the Keeping It Strong Style logo. And we are streaming live right now on patreon.com/KI Strong Style. If you want to watch our show live or listen without ads, sign up at patreon.com/KI Strong Style. Trish, good to have you back on the show. How are you doing?
I'm good. It's nice to be back just to talk some New Japan and not have to bore Sarah silly. So no, I'm kidding. It's good to hang out with you guys. So looking forward to this one.
Trish, long time no see. I think the last time we were all together, I was breaking a glass in a karaoke room.
We also took you on a Wild Miles roller coaster. Remember that one in Yokohama?
No, Jeremy wasn't there, so that one doesn't count.
Oh, that one doesn't count? I was going to say, I don't think you've forgiven me for that one. But yeah, we had a crazy karaoke session till like 4 a.m. in Akihabara.
Yeah,
and,
that was a great night. That was a great way to close out
awesome
the trip.
Night. Yeah, it's just what you do, right? You just have a great day out and you're just like, hey, let's just go do some karaoke. And, it was insane. I found out that a lot of Americans don't know like European kind of karaoke songs. So yeah, that was a learning.
Yes, but there were quite a few songs we selected where like you and
Tim
would be like, I have no clue what is happening right now. Like, this was a top 10 hit. What are you talking about?
Yeah, like we know nothing, and it's the same the opposite way around. But I think he with Sheffield Band, he did a great rendition of one of the Yorkshire bands, though, that actually, like, I know enough. He put on a half Yorkshire accent. I may have cried on the floor. So it's just like, but yeah, just a great time. Yeah, it's crazy that it's been like 6 months since we were all in Japan for Wrestle Kingdom. That's insane.
Yeah,
I would love to say it doesn't feel like that, but after this show, it definitely feels.
Well, we'll see how we feel.
Well, yeah. Well, we're here for the big Dominion review, second biggest show of the year, and we can jump right into it. That's the main topic for the show. So we had Dominion this past Sunday, June 14th. Started at 3 a.m. Eastern Time from Osaka Joe Hall. We had a reported attendance of 6,890 compared to last year. That was 6,525. So the house a little bit up this year. And we had a question from DC Marvel Fanboy. Did you see a noticeable amount of improvements by the new owners? I saw better camera work, better production, better graphics, more consistent replays, a better stage. Was it just me? Trish, Josh, what do you guys think about the Dominion production and presentation?
I didn't notice anything that too drastically different. I will say that last week I noted how for Super Juniors, they seem to have a rig for the first time that was like sort of different. There's a little bit of money put behind some of the entrances. Same thing here, bigger show. A few of the guys got some money behind their entrances, which is not totally unheard of with New Japan, but has been diminished over the years and has sort of like from time to time made a comeback. And we saw that on display here. I would say the camera quality is the same as it always has been. So nothing there. I think that the video packages were as good as they typically always are. I didn't really notice anything production wise. I mean, like even if you were just to point to the camera work, New Japan, in my opinion, undoubtedly has the best camera work of any promotion that's out there. Yeah. And that didn't seem to be any different. I think that if they do start to make changes, it'll probably be something that's announced, and that will be, they'll make it known to everybody, like, hey, we're putting money behind this, and here's the improvements you could look out for. There'll probably be some sort of small press release. Yeah,
I liked the kind of some of the big staging they did. Obviously, we'll get into first was like the Sonata and things, and like it did look slightly different on the entrance with the things up top compared to last year. But yeah, I don't think it's anything noticeable. And I think we're kind of looking for it at the moment too. So we're looking for improvements, and that can be dangerous because you don't know if it's just things that they're doing just for a big show or things that they're doing, on a permanent basis. So I think I agree pretty much with Josh that we'll see that kind of, if we get that sort of investment, we'll see that more visually. Like it won't just be like, oh, I think that's happening. It's like, it will really kind of hit you in the face, just like it did with when they put into Pro Wrestling Noah, really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like it might be too early to fully give credit to the new ownership.
The thing hasn't gone through yet either. It doesn't go through to the 30th officially. So we're probably jumping the gun.
Yeah. But overall,
I liked the new stage.
Yeah, I thought the stage was great. The little kind of cube wrestling ring things up at the entrance part were pretty cool. And I will say, I do think there were more consistent replays in the past. I feel like it's always kind of been random. Sometimes there's no replays at all, or it's like one match.
That is one thing
move.
I've noticed.
But yeah, every match pretty much had at least one replay, and they threw like the New Japan logo in between. So there were some different kind of production things there. But again, I don't know if that's fully new ownership.
They've also, on the last two shows, something they don't typically do is when a match ends, they've done replays of some of the final moments leading to the finish.
Yeah.
That's something they almost never do, and that's kind of new. But again, I don't know how much you can attribute to the new ownership, or if it's just coincidental. I really don't know.
Yeah. Like you said, Josh, I think, they're usually ones to, when something's changing for the better, kind of, put their chest out there. So I'm sure, there will be some announcements probably in the future once things start actually changing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's jump into the show. So we opened up here with the NJPW World Television title match. The Alpha Konosuke Takeshita defeats Cold-Blooded Sonata in 8 minutes and 24 seconds. So big return of Sonata. We last saw him New Year Dash, saying goodbye, New Japan. Everybody thought that he was potentially maybe going to Noah to hang out with Naito or, lay it down for good. But he came back, part of this whole, ever going to Takeshita versus House of Torture feud. So what you guys think of the return of Sonata in this matchup here with the Alpha?
I was completely disappointed. And no shade on anybody involved in the match, but it really comes down to one word that was promised to us and was not delivered, and that is magician. Okay? We didn't get magician like we were promised, and that threw the whole thing for me.
I think it's one of them with Sonata. So, like, I don't even know where the leaving thing came from, but he was just kind of getting some treatment on his shoulder and stuff. But I think we hoped that him having that break would lead to him coming back a bit more motivated, with hopefully that the change in having movement would make a big difference to him in ring. And I don't think we saw any of that here. And I liked, they gave him the big setup. They get, he's had the little documentary on, that they put out last week, which, screams that they're going babyface turn, which is why I went from like a week ago going, oh, maybe Sonata wins, to going, oh god, no, Sonata's not winning. Like he can't, like they have to turn him. But it's like, so, and then they give him the big entrance with all the different like suits. It was kind of it made me laugh because it was kind of similar to like Cody Rhodes' thing at WrestleMania where he had all like his outfits and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I did miss the LIJ theme, so I was kind of like, oh, cool, missed that. But yeah, it just never really went anywhere. So they started out with like the respect thing, and then they moved into him falling back into his House of Torture things. And I don't know. I'm not 100% either on just Takeshita being in these TV title matches. I don't think it fits him. I don't think I've enjoyed any of them practically in the way that I would hope to with some of the opponents. But this one, I didn't get anything from it. And that's a shame. I think anytime someone goes away, you have hope that when they come back, it's going to work out better. And I didn't get anything from it. And it doesn't make me hugely positive on what Sonata does next, even if he does turn face, really.
Yeah, and friend of the show, Rich Latta here saying, keep Takeshita away from that shitter.
I don't know if, judging from the way that Rich has been talking lately, I don't know if he's talking about Sonata. I don't know if he's talking about the TV title. I don't know if he's just talking about Shinihan in general.
It could be all three.
All of the above.
Go ahead, Jeremy.
Yeah, the match, the first 5 minutes were actually, I thought, pretty good. Especially, after we got the big entrance, like Trish mentioned, he comes out with the Cold Skull music. We got several variations of Cold Skull Sonata coming out, and then it went into the Just Five Guys version of Sonata, and then the new kind of suit guy pulls it off, and we get the redhead kind of new look Sonata. And the first 5 minutes I thought were pretty good. Like Sonata was kind of leaning back into more of his kind of grappling wrestling base. There's a lot of great exchanges there. And then of course after that 5 minute mark, that's when you got the antics, got the ref bumps, the cold spray to the face. He gets the guitar out, pulls all the gimmicks, kind of the speed runs the gimmicks. But Takeshita was able to overcome all that, hits the raging fire, and gets the win.
Yeah, I mean, we got the new look, as you guys have mentioned, for Sonata. He, I clearly think he lifted this from David Bowie, which I also sort of thought the space rock version of him was lifted from David Bowie. So I think this is like his tribute to Ziggy Stardust. I'm assuming, which my dog's name is Ziggy, so it's very, very fitting. And I didn't think he looked like he was in the greatest of shape, but he worked and moved fairly fine. Match was shorter than I anticipated. Not that that's a bad thing, but for an 8-minute 24 match, they still couldn't help themselves but go to the House of Torturism, the ref bumps, the cold spray, the guitar shit. And so it's like, all right, well, this is a guy who was talking about how I want to reinvigorate my love for the business and kind of go back to basics. And then he's still just going with the old gimmicks. And then he gets beat fairly quickly by Takeshita. And I'm like, I don't really know who this was for or what this did. I don't know, and I don't know that Takeshita in being part of and with and in New Japan has been the benefit to anybody that all parties involved have hoped and expected for it to be. Not him, not management, the boys, like it all around. It's been an abject failure. And I think it falls not entirely on New Japan. I think a lot of it does with the creative, but there's an issue here where this guy has also failed for whatever reason. I think there's a lot going against him, but he hasn't gotten over and connected with this particular audience. I think a lot of that probably has to do with DDTism and sort of those connections more so than anything else. But if he's going to stick around, they need to figure out the right way to get the use out of him, because it's like it's a failure of management and of him as a creative individual, because they do have a lot of leeway in how they present themselves, for them to not have come together collaboratively and figured out, how do we make money together? He's probably the best, Japanese wrestler, male wrestler of his generation. And we can't figure this out. Like, something's fucked up here, but like he probably shouldn't be carrying this belt anymore, and he shouldn't be curtain jerking these big shows either.
What do you think of the fact that he's like pure babyface now, pretty much?
I mean, I think it sort of makes some sense because it's like when they had him join Hantai, they knew that they were already in the midst of doing the turn with the Don Callis family and everything like that. So it's a little more like coordinated and cohesive with what his creative in America is anyways. And so that's good, I guess. But with the state of how like New Japan right now, we're not really sure like who are the next generation of guys that they're really going to get behind and push, especially heading into G1 in the Tokyo Dome. Him sort of just being saddled as another Hantai guy with no direction because we don't know what commitments we do or don't have, and we don't know what time, commitments we're going to have either. It's I don't know. It's not necessarily the bravest booking and usage, and it's definitely not the most financially viable one either. Who knows how much they're paying him? It just, I don't know. It's kind of mind-boggling, the whole thing, honestly.
Yeah, I feel like outside of his very first G1, he's just been handled very poorly. Because that first G1, we're like, man, this guy came off as a star. He was clearly ahead of everybody else, all the other young guys. I was like, yeah, have him stick around, strap him up. But yeah, they've failed to really capitalize on the momentum, and it goes back to a lot of what they did of not really leaning into the whole like outsider thing, and they try to have him do is kind of like he's a babyface, but he's also a heel, but you're supposed to get behind him, and it just didn't really pan out. And then you're having him, people cheering evil over him. People are cheering for Yujiro Takahashi over him. There were a lot of Sonata chants in this match. So clearly, yeah, with creative and just how the fans perceive him, and also, Josh, you mentioned DDTism. I think also it's a little bit of AEWism as well. I think they just completely see him as an outsider, and now they're trying to throw the Hantai paint on him to, be like, look, here you go. He's one of us. He's a part of the home army.
I will say one thing, right? When they faced him off against Evil in the G1, right? And Evil got these incredible pops, so much so that the talk of the town at the time was like Evil face turn win, baby face, all that sort of stuff, right? And there is no denying that there is a certain level of popularity that Evil carried within the company, but for a lot of fans, seeing was believing, putting him up against Takeshita. And then January 4th comes around, they play the same trick, but this time it's Tsuji, and it works to the extent that like everybody is like, Tsuji's the future, he's the ace, he's going to carry the company, blah blah blah, right? And I think there's truth to that as well. But then when it turns around, like you said, Jeremy, and the trick worked with like Yujiro, and it worked with who else did he wrestle that guys got behind? Did they get a little bit behind Owens too?
Not as much.
Maybe not so much. But I feel like the fact that it worked with Yujiro kind of tells me like, okay, this is a little bit of a cheat code, and validates the arguments that we made last year, where it's like he could hypothetically be the top heel in the company, just given where everything is right now. And they're looking for ways to make Yuya Uemuras and Oiwas and, what have you, all these young guys. Takeshita should be the guy that they're facing off with, and he should be kind of doing for them the same thing that he did with Tsuji, or perhaps even running it back with Tsuji. I think the problem with a lot of that, though, is the politics side of it, because, yeah, he should be beating a lot of those guys, but eventually he's going to have to lay down for somebody. And with the time commitments and, his need overseas, like that's why he's the TV champion, because it's low stakes and there's nobody that's really going to feasibly beat him until they decide to finally go that way, and it's a 15-minute it's going to be a banana peel title change at that point, really, because there's so many like just hangups when it comes to that belt. But realistically, if there was anybody that they could be using to reinvigorate the company in a heel role, he's the guy. But they just don't have the ability to commit to that.
It's difficult, because when I watch Takeshita wrestle as a babyface, like we saw against Okada, I think the way he uses like his explosiveness of pace and that sort of thing, is much better suited to him being a babyface. But I do think you're right that he's completely miscast in this company. And maybe that's different if he was full-time, and not split between 3 in his case, or mainly 2, but 3. And it does mean that, he does feel miscast, and you can stick him next to Aaron Wolf, you can stick him next to whoever, and you don't really get that reaction. I mean, this is his hometown, right? Like, in Osaka. And it's still split. Like, so I don't know. It's kind of very similar to Shota in some ways, that like they keep trying these things, but the more you force it, the more kind of trouble you find yourself in. But at the moment, he's just spinning his wheels with this TV title. I don't think the structure suits him at all, and he's not involved. He's like disconnected from the rest of kind of the new generation in aspects, and I don't think that's good for him. I just think sometimes the follow-up when you lose a title is just as much or even more important than the follow-up from winning it. And this is just basically painted out like, we don't know what to do with this guy, and we don't do it. Did we not see him at that level now? If they, it makes you question whether they still see him at that top level in a way that they clearly did when you look at how he was presented at Wrestle Kingdom and Wrestle Dynasty at the start of last year.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see how they continue to try and get him over, how hard they're going to go the Hantai route versus, in this promotion, like, AEW definitely was very clear he should be a babyface, but it feels like, at least in the time being, he needs to be a heel in New Japan.
I mean, realistically, he probably, at this point, needs to just be a guy like Mystico, who is not actually really part of the company and is just an attraction guy that comes in a few times a year. Because it's like, if you don't have the ability to commit to keeping the guy and using him, and there's nothing wrong with like having him do a few of those spots, and then he can still work his G1, and that's a big deal. But it's like, if he can't really be a main event player like everyone wants him to be, then we should stop pretending like he's part of the company.
Yeah. We had a question here from MJ. It says he really enjoyed Sonata's entrance. Who has the biggest discrepancy in presentation versus actual ability?
That's a great question. Sonata's up there.
I mean, the first thing that came to my mind was Jey Uso.
Oh, like
we're extending it beyond.
You're extending it beyond.
Yeah, I mean that was the first thing. I couldn't even think of a New Japan name. I was like, Jey Uso popped in my head immediately.
I know what the answer is, but you guys aren't gonna fucking like the answer. And it wasn't always the case, but it is right now.
Who?
It's Tetsuya Naito.
Oh, right now, yeah, absolutely.
Right now, based on how he's presented as a star, the reactions and everything, and then what he can still do in the ring, it's not the same.
It's a gender. Don't hinder gender.
in New Japan, in its heyday, I would have said Bushi.
Oh yeah,
because Bushi got great crowd reactions, and he always had multiple masks and like elaborate get-ups, and then the bell would ring, and he was Yo.
You're getting your Yo digs in early. Do you know, I'd actually think about some of the entrances that Shows had. Like his own at Wrestle Kingdom was like incredible, and then he just turns back into Show. So that was like the only thing that crossed my mind recently, where I just thought, that was such a cool entrance, and then it's done. But it's House of Torture. I think for a long time, Evil was probably that. Like he had some incredible entrances and always looked like badass. And then we went to the same House of Torture structure. So maybe it's just a House of Torture problem. But that's where I'm going.
Red said it's Kenny in reverse in AEW. Great talent, not great presentation.
Yeah. I was thinking about that for a second. I was like, what does he mean by that? Okay.
I've talked too much about what I think of how Kenny's presented in AEW. So I get enough trouble for it. But you can definitely notice a difference when he's in New Japan, for sure.
Yeah. Well, let's jump to the next matchup here. We had
you can see the light in his eyes and the hope. Passion.
He's not dead behind the eyes. It's a miracle.
His eyes.
So next match, we had no disqualification. Jake Lee defeating El Phantasmo by ref decision in 9 minutes and 40 seconds.
This was worse than I thought it was going to be. I know last week we kind of complained about like, hey, why is this stipulation tied up with this program when it's like it wasn't really built that well and it kind of just came out of nowhere. But I still sort of, not that I had high hopes for it, but I sort of thought ELP will be able to get something out of Jake Lee with all of the smoke and mirrors that are allowed. And you remember when the Jake Lee and Suji title match happened? And remember there were those like long swaths of time where he was doing his, his heat and like the crowd was just silent. Mm-hmm. That shit happened here in this match too. Like they were doing the kind of like spots that ELP has done for years in these kinds of matches that have always gotten reactions. And like they weren't getting, like they were doing the nipple spots and the and like the crowd wasn't popping for it. Like there is not a connection here with this Jake Lee guy. And I'm not really even fully blaming ELP. I know he's kind of been in and out and a little less active this year, but if Shingo was in this match and it was spot for spot, the exact same match, this would have been a pretty good match. But I think it's literally just the charisma vacuum and the lack of connection with Jake Lee that just made this match just die on the vine, because they were fighting for their lives to get reactions and they just couldn't get any.
Yeah, our boy Van Damage saying this match was bewildering.
He was my boy, but then he gave his art book to you when we were in Japan.
Jake Lee. Someone had said to me this week that they were worried about this match going in because like Jake Lee can't bump, and now I can't unsee it because now when I see it, it's like he doesn't take anything. And I was like, is he just injured? It's like, no, he just doesn't bump. And like, it's all I could see then watching it. Once you've been told something, you can never not see it. And it's like, that's all I can see. And then because he doesn't really take anything, then ELP's taking like the biggest things like he can, one after another. And yeah, it's right, it's playing out to silence. And like even when he does like the big chair stack and they do that bump and there's still like not much reaction. And then you get to the finish and it's like, it's such a cheap finish that makes the baby face look so stupid that, and then it's like driven home by this clown, because like literal clown, like just doing all his like, oh look at him, he couldn't even get his boot off, he couldn't put the thing in the boot, he's so fucking dumb. And I'm like, how does this, oh God no, how does this like, help anybody?
Who is this helping?
I feel like they absolutely neutered El Phantasmo here. I mean, we've talked in the past how they've never really gone with him. His booking hasn't been that great, but he always puts out a good performance. But here, man, they absolutely killed him. They had him look so dumb, struggling to get his boot off to try and load it for the loaded boot, and then gets clobbered by Jake Lee and then gets caught in the guillotine. It's like, they made this guy look an absolute geek. Like, how do you spend that much time trying to get the boot off? And then it's no DQ. Why don't you just load it up from the beginning, like backstage, and like use it? Why? Yeah, it was just it was awful. It was really, really bad. And yeah, I don't get what they're doing with Phantasmo. And again, I don't know if there's some health issues there, because like Josh mentioned, he's been a little bit light on the schedule this year. He's in the play-ins for the G1. He doesn't have a guaranteed spot, so it just kind of seems very weird booking for him. And then Jake Lee, it's just not connecting for me. I tried to give him a chance, and I did like the initial presentation from Wrestle Kingdom and kind of seemed like a serious force at Empire, but then he turned to the clown show and he's hopping around with the face paint on, he's laughing, he's trying to give people mandible claws, and it's just not connecting.
Kenta Miyahara, right, has made that man more money than anybody ever will in his entire life, because everybody got fooled. Noah got fooled, New Japan got fooled. Well, one day we'll get that Jake Lee back and not the clown. And instead we've doubled down on the clown. Like, he has a clown mask and a clown face now. It's like, yeah, it's just.
I mean, part of that is true, but there's no denying that the genetics also are a big part of it.
Sure.
The fact that this guy, what is he, he's 6'4", right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, just the fact that he is 6'4" alone has guaranteed him years and years and years of employment in the wrestling industry, where if this guy was 5'11", he would not be in this position. Doesn't matter how much work Kento Miyahara put into him. Like,
he'd be Yujiro.
Yeah. He would be the most famous wrestler in the world, Lord Yoshitatsu, you know.
Yeah, so this was really bad, and I don't know what they're doing with either of these guys.
We're starting really well with this show.
Yeah. Well, it's
you know, when I like was thinking we should invite Trish on, it's been a while since we had her on. Let's bring her on for a banger. Like, you know, it's Dominion, baby. We know it's going to deliver.
Yeah, and then you saw ELP Jake Lee on the listings. I was like, well.
Rich says Japanese Baron Corbin.
Baron Corbin's a lot better than Jake Lee.
Yeah, like, and there was a part of it where the thing where he is like Baron Corbin is like, I almost wanted it to be funny bad. I was like, if it's funny bad, I'll live with it, right? And it just wasn't even funny bad. It just wasn't funny. It was just like, you're a clown, but you have no jokes. Like, I don't know. Yeah, like, please, at least be funny bad. I can just laugh at it then. And instead, I'm just like sat there going, oh boy.
Yeah, I think Josh said it best for the New Beginning Osaka match. It's a comedian that's going up, it's bombs. Like, none of the jokes are getting over. Everything's falling flat. That's exactly
Bro, they were bombing in this match. I felt the same way. I'm like, they're doing big. And I mean, like you said, Trish, I felt bad for ELP because he's taking massive bumps to silence.
Yeah.
Oh, you know that's bad. When you're like putting your body on the line, you take a huge crash through shit, and it's just like silence. They don't even gasp. I'm like, oh, that's bad.
Yeah, they didn't even be like a surprise pop. They just went, okay, yeah, what's next? We don't care. We don't care.
That line that you said, you're a clown, but you have no jokes. I feel like that would be something I could totally hear Moxley saying.
Oh, yeah. I don't think you'll get to use it, though. Something tells me that Jake Lee is not going to Forbidden Door.
Jake, you think you're a clown, but you got no jokes.
He'd be taking like 20 breaths in between, like, you know.
Van Damme said, you know that meme format of the guy putting on a clown makeup? That's Jake Lee's actual career this year. Oh, man. Well,
I feel like him having the mask is just like an extra thing to it. He's like, no, I have two clown faces. Not one, but two. Jesus Christ.
Well, let's move on to the next matchup here. We had Taichi and Yuya Uemura defeating the TMDK team of Roy Oiwa and Zack Sabre Jr. Kind of a little bit of an upset here. Taichi getting the flash victory over Oiwa. What you guys think about this one?
I thought that the build up to this match actually taking place was kind of very interesting because we sort of broke down like what paths all four of these guys have been on this entire calendar year, and it sort of led to this crossroads match. And every single one of these guys is on the potential like docket for a singles run within the G1, potentially depending on how things shake out. So it's like you're looking at this match and you're like, yes, it could have tag team ramifications and or singles / G1 implications. So it's like you don't know entirely how to feel about it. The crowd was reacting well. It was a very good match. I think it fell a little short of great, but you know, for a sub 15-minute tag team match with the guys involved, I thought they did some really great wrestling. We saw the Oiwa Uemura stuff kind of continue and blossom. You know, Zack and Taichi, their long history with one another that came to the forefront here. And then, you know, Taichi picks up the kind of surprise. I always forget the name of this move, but, you know, the sit down pinfall reversal cradle thing.
The Omega pin.
You know, I always just call it like what Bulldog did to Brett in Wembley. I don't know what it's called.
Of course you do.
Hey, I could say it's what Cody did to Aldis at All In.
Oh God. We try and forget that one.
Oh, I love that match. I'll watch it again. But yeah, so Taichi picks up the win here, and it was a little bit unexpected. And I sort of sat back watching that, thinking like, I don't feel like he's getting into G1 off of that win alone, and I don't feel like Taichi and Uemura are next up for a title challenge. So what does this mean? Like, I was just very still cautiously optimistic. Like, I was glad to see Taichi get the win here, but because it was Taichi picking up the win and not Uemura, I was very like, this is sus. Like, what is this leading to? And then with the fallout of the rest of the show, we got our answers, and I was like, I don't know if I feel as optimistic about how this match played out once it was all said and done.
I don't know if I feel as down on it on that. I think with Oira, it's like there has to be like a turning point somewhere. And I like the way they played off the finish where they had like Zach kind of looking disappointed in him. Because obviously like that's got to be the path eventually, right? He has to come back to Zach and eventually defeat him. So I thought, okay, like, you do this thing with Taichi and it's like, yeah, you should be winning this and you're not. So you can play off that chemistry. And I with the play-in stuff, like, yeah, I'm not horrendous on it. It's one of them though. It's weird because like they do these things with Taichi, and you could see like Asaka just loves him, right? They were so loud. It was like the decibel like level had gone up so massively from the opening 2 matches. Like it was crazy. But they'll never really get behind him. So they give him these little moments. It's like kind of trying to feed that audience, and then it's like, but really we're just going to feed him to this person or that person, or he's not getting into G1, or he's not getting this, or he's not getting a tag run, you know, like, so it's a funny one. But yeah, I'm not too kind of down on it just because I think it's a nice pathway for Oiwa to do, but it's like, you can only do these things for so long, right? Like eventually they have to be moving up, and he should be beating a Taichi essentially on these big shows.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought this was really good stuff. I mean, had this been given like 10 more minutes, this probably could have ended up being the match of the night. A lot of great chemistry between all 4 guys here. And, you know, Oiwa just kind of got overconfident towards the end. He went for the grip. Taichi got him up going for Black Mephisto, was able to turn it into the pin, get that surprise upset. And I was like, oh, wow, Taichi won. I was really surprised. They went with Taichi, and I was like, oh, I wonder what that means for his G1 future. And
Right.
It was one of the moments of the night where the crowd was behind somebody and they actually won. So it kind of felt like, all right, New Japan made the right call with this one. He was clearly the most over guy in the match. I've heard some reviews, and I've talked to some people who were there live in the building, and they were like, yeah, Taichi was super over. The crowd was, they really wanted to win. People were just so happy that he won. And it's a guy where it's like, man, like you see the crowd connection there. You see how hard he works. I get it. He's a little bit older, but I mean, like, I don't feel like we're getting the full juice out of him. Like, I feel like we could squeeze more and utilize him more than what they have been doing with him.
Do you feel like if you could go back in time, you could, you wish that they would have given Taichi Sonata's run?
Oh, absolutely.
It's just hard to see it though. Like, I mean, they always had like Sonata ring fenced, even when we thought it was insane that they had him kind of fenced away for it. But yeah, it's one of those. It's kind of like Ishii as well. Like for years, we were like, he can do more than just be never belt guy or anything like that, or the guy that has those matches in the G1. And it's felt like that with Taichi for a few years now, and he felt like he stepped up as well. Like he got back in shape. You know, he was fantastic all last summer. Mm-hmm. Like the tag stuff, just think about the match that he had, the tag match that he had with like Naito on his way out as well. And it's just like, he could do more, but they're just going to keep toying us along, and we'll take our little Taichi moments. We'll suffer. But yeah, no, I was perfectly happy to see him kind of get that pin, and I think it can work for his story, so it's fine. But I agree with both of you that it was kind of very good, not great. And I think that was a theme for a lot of the matches on this show, spoiler, but yeah, that was kind of that sort of thing. But I guess when it's so early on the card, you don't expect it to get significant time. But there's another one in there. There's another one in there for sure.
Yeah.
Well, this was one where like I just wasn't totally sure because of the focus they've given to the tag division. I was like, they might give them, another 6 or 7 minutes, because they were going into a sequence where it felt like, oh, we're starting to ramp up.
Yeah.
Because it was getting really good. And then it ended abruptly. And I was like, I agree with Jeremy. I'm like, yeah, on the right night, if this was in Corkin and they gave him a few more minutes, like this probably could be. I mean, these 4 guys are just so incredible.
Yeah. Well, so moving on to the next match, we had the clash of IWGP Junior Tag Team Champions El Desperado defeating Mystico in 9 minutes and 33 seconds by submission.
Yeah, I feel like Mystico basically told them, like, I get paid for the show, not by the minute. And I got shit to do, You want me to do a job? All right, we can do a job, but it's not gonna be very good. And I'm gonna get myself out of there. And we saw this very similar series of events take place just 2 years ago between Mystico and Hiromu. So I kind of mentioned last week how this could be sort of a carbon copy. And it's like, yeah, it is strange because it's like the world of wrestling is so much more interconnected now than it has ever been, just with, globalism and everything like that. But the Japanese and Mexican markets of any two are still like the most disparate from one another. Like, yes, real diehard fans kind of are aware of what's going on different continents, but if you didn't see it, it might as well not have happened. Like, it still kind of harkens back to like the old territory days where it's like guys would do jobs over, in another country, and they would try not to have like the press cover it or whatever, because if no one covers it and it's not televised, then it doesn't really matter. It doesn't happen. And then when, like guys like the Road Warriors or Stan Hansen or Brody, they'd be wrestling in the States, and they find out like the Japanese cameras are there, and they're like, all right, well, we gotta fucking go over now. Like, but with like CMLL and New Japan, it's not quite like that. Like, there are still some guys. Rich says this is like Ric Flair losing to Jack Venejo. Yeah. So, I mean, it's like, yeah, some people might hear about it, but it's like Mystico was fine. He's the top draw, top star. And it's not something that's going to be widely publicized. It's on the lower end of the card, and it's 2 baby faces. It was sub 10 minutes. And honestly, it'll be a bigger deal in Mexico when they probably have the rematch, and it'll be probably a main event in Arena Mexico. And that's where they'll have the good match. And that's where Desperado will return the favors,
I was actually surprised that it wasn't for Fantasticamania this week. Like, they're both booked in different matches, because I thought, they could just do a quick turnaround and like nobody will know any different. And then, I was surprised looking down the card, and I was like, oh no, they can't. So we'll see where that one kind of ends up. It always makes me laugh that Mystico is still considered a junior in New Japan. Like, he's as big as Andrade. He's a junior. And he has a house show mode. It's the only way I can think about it. He really has a house show mode, and he was full on house show mode here. And I think having the 2 baby faces like against each other didn't help either. I think they struggled to get like any sort of big investment from the crowd, especially when you compare it to like the Tai Chi stuff just before it. It's like, you see the difference. But just pretty much playing the hits, and then making sure that even though Desperado run, he got the theme entrance finish, milked it. He's very Muto in some ways, isn't he? It's like, it has to be about him. It has to be about him, win or lose, But I thought it was interesting that like they had the CML president Salvador Luveroff was there for this show as well. And so it's kind of an interesting one. He's kind of making the towns in some ways, but coming across with Mystico. And you're right, it's very similar to the Hiromu thing they did a couple of years ago. And it just feels weird, because it's like the whole thing is like he just appeared, on the Dontaku tour. And all of a sudden, like, they're tag champs, and then they have the match, and it's like, okay, and they're going to drop it. And it's like, where did this even come from? Like, but it also makes you feel like, can't they do something more useful with him? But then again,
Right.
you fall into the Takeshita problem, right? So it's
Right.
like, but if he is going to do something more useful for him, you probably want more than the house show match. That's what I think we get out of him predominantly in these like kind of little spots right now.
Yeah, which at the end of the day, the house show Mystico match is still very good. Did all his kind of signature spots, all the Harris and the dives and the Spanish flies, the La Mystica attempts. It was a very good back and forth match for what it was. And Despy ended up trying to rip the mask off to get a little bit of heat on him to get some juice to the match. And Despy also going after the knee, which Mystico just recently returned from an injury. So going after that. And then I was a little surprised that he put on the Pinche Loco and got the quick, he did the quick Mexican tap out, waving the hand, ref call for the belt. So yeah, it was kind of surprising for it to be such a quick, kind of out of nowhere submission victory. But it was good for what it was. I was surprised that there was no angle post match. I thought maybe, all right, you have a junior team, maybe you have Akira and Jacob Austin Young or Ichiban Sweet Boys. Maybe you have somebody come out and challenge these guys for something down the line, but none of that. It was just kind of respect. And then, like Trish mentioned, Mystico getting all the love, all the flowers, and the music just kept going. And Charlton's like, all right, we're getting ready for our G1 announcements. And then Mystico's still out there waving to the fans and bowing. And it's like, all right, now for our G1 announcements. And Mystico's still.
See, the angle that I thought was coming was I could just see this being Eddie versus Ray part 2. I thought we were going to find out that when Despy spent his time on his excursion in Mystico, he was out there partying a little too much. And there's a custody issue with Mystico and whether he is truly the biological father of his children or whether a young desperado, you know what I mean? So that's where I felt like this was all going, was ladder match, custody of child. But I guess we're not going to get there. So that's fine. Trish, she mentioned she's surprised Mystico's not being used as a heavyweight. And it's like the dirty secret is in Japan, or at least in New Japan, juniors are not judged by weight. It's just a height thing. They don't acknowledge it, but it's literally like if you are under 5'10" or like 5, I think it is like 5'10", it's like, oh, you're a junior. But it's like Zack Sabre Jr. came in and he was clearly way under the weight limit. And they're like, oh yeah, he's a heavyweight. And it's like, dog, no, he's not.
Look at him. He's tall.
He's a little weed.
I also think that the thing with the quick tap, that was kind of funny because it's like you mentioned, Jeremy, the commentary, they were like so surprised about how quickly he tapped out. And I'm like, bro, if you've never seen like a first fall of like a 2 out of 3 falls match in Mexico, that's how he treated this shit. He's like, I'm not getting hurt. Tap that shit. Is there a title on the line? Is there a mask on the line? Is this gonna get aired in Mexico? Fuck it. Like, I'm not. You're not doing that. So this was kind of like basically, you said it's house show mode. It's like MLW mode.
Oh yeah, that's probably a better one. Yeah,
he was given about the same level as he would if he was like in Cicero. Like it's not that different.
Yeah.
I wasn't that surprised about the president of CMLL being there though, because I feel like part of that is to strengthen the unity between AEW, New Japan, CMLL, and all that because of the new like management turnover. And I feel like
that makes sense.
That's probably what that has to do with. What I was a little surprised about though, not that I ever expect CMLL talent to be in the G1, but because he was there, I was like, oh, are we going to get like one CMLL represented wrestler this year because he's there on this night and they're about to make the announcement? And then it didn't happen. And I was a little surprised by that, actually.
That didn't even cross my mind, but that would have been awesome though.
The moment he was out there and then they're like, we're about to make the announcement. I was like, oh, that's why he's there. I don't know who it would be. Ultimo Guerrero probably, but no, I don't know who it could be, but that's what I was hoping for.
Xander Khan.
Cool. Yeah, Xander Khan.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of G1, after this match, after Mystico finally left, they did run the G1 video. So for the A block, we got the Alpha, Konosuke Takeshita, Yoda Tsuji, Sanada, Shingo Takagi, Jake Lee, Bolton Oleg, Hiroki Goto, and then one of the IWGP Tag Team Champions would be in the block, and then we'd have 2 play-in winners will be the rounding off the A block there, and then in the B block, we got the Prince Callum Newman, Zack Sabre Jr., Shota Umino, Yuya Uemura, Ren Narita, Drilla Maloney, Gabe Kidd, and then the other IWGP Tag Team Champion and the 2 playoff winners here. So essentially they announced that the winners of the Okan, Hanare, Knockout Brothers would be getting in G1, and then we'll do the play-ins happening during the Road to G1 Climax for the 4 remaining spots.
I did not like that announcement, personally. Like, maybe for some individuals, they felt like adding that stip to the tag match added stakes and importance and all that. But the moment they said that, I was like, fuck, like they're definitely dropping these titles now.
Yeah, it kind of tipped a lot of results. It tipped like, all right, Andrade's not announced, so clearly the global title's probably being changed. Yeah, Hanare and Okan are probably going to win because they're not going to leave those guys at the G1 quite yet.
I didn't even think about the Andrade thing, but yeah, that's true too. Like, he didn't get announced. He's got the white belt. It makes it very clear what's happening there. Although I will say this, I kind of felt like Aaron Wolf was about to lose his title. He didn't get announced. I was like, why the fuck they didn't list Wolf Aaron? What the fuck's going on?
Yeah.
Just like the one guy that one of the 2 guys we thought was complete lock coming in, and you're going, hang on a minute, like he's got to play in it, is he not getting the belt? But I guess, with him, they want to use him for the players to sell the Korokans, but I was like, yeah, it did make me nervous. I was like, you can't do another Narita win. Like, we can't. I can't live through it. I can't live through it on Discord or Twitter or anywhere else. Like, please don't do this. Like,
Rich says the B block stands for British.
Are all 4 of those guys? I don't think all 4 of those guys are British, are they?
We got Newman, we got Sabre,
Drilla,
Gabe Kidd,
and Gabe. Yeah, that's 4. Yeah.
Okay. See, I'm not good at this. To me, the UK is all the same shit, so I don't ever want to assume that they're automatically British. They could be, you never know. They could be Scottish or Irish or Welsh.
Oh, no.
I don't know.
And Umeo did his excursion in Rev Pro, so he's kind of British.
I think he hated it though, so I don't think it counts. He picked up all the worst British habits. We don't own that one.
Oh man. So who did you guys take note? Was there anyone that, when they did the announcements and the crowd were getting the reactions, was there anybody that like stood out to you in terms of like positive or negative reception?
I think Bolton got a big pop. He's been out hurt. I think fans were happy to see him in there. And then there was definitely some oohs and ahs when Gabe Kidd's name was announced.
Yeah. Which I think it kind of makes sense for Gabe, because it's sort of like the make good for the injury from last year. So I guess I get that. Plus, it's like he's not actively involved in anything too important on TV right now over in the States. So it's like if he is able to return and good to go, it might make sense to be able to get him involved here. Plus, like, we'd already heard speculation going back to the early part of this year when they were doing the G1 advertisements, and they had different AEW talent like sort of hyping up on social media for the Chicago show. And, Dave saying like, hey, there's probably going to be some AEW involvement. You kind of almost hoped. Rich says he's in the best shape I've ever seen him in. You hitting the weight room with him, brother? Like, what's going on there? But I'm not opposed to the idea that it's Takeshi and Kidd. Those are proven track record guys, lots of history. But part of me sometimes when I hear that it's going to be an AEW guy, I hope it is like an Andrade or a Swerve or a Hangman or just somebody like that. That would be like fresh and new and exciting. But this is fine too.
I think with this year, I mean, like the only real AEW names was kind of out there, bandied about, was just Takeshi and Kidd, and especially once Kidd kind of came back and it started the global angle, obviously got a shell for a little bit by injury. But I think he's still dual contracted as well, so both of these guys are dual contracted guys still. So, or triple K in Takeshita's case. But it's an interesting one. I think the timing of it with obviously All In as well, and they're moving Grand Slam Mexico later because of the World Cup bookings. Probably played a part in Andrade, but that's pretty much the only one that you could see outside of that. And I guess there's a thing this year as well of not making offers that they then can't kind of go through with, which is what happened last year, you know. So I can see that a reason to be a little bit more conservative when it comes to making those offers to big AEW talent if you can't then go through with them. And again, maybe that changes. Maybe this is the next year. Maybe it's just like we're kind of in that path. But I'm not massively down on it. I've seen quite a lot of people kind of not big on it. But I think for me, it's like there's two things. I presume that Aaron Wolf's going to go through the play-ins. And then seeing how he does, you know, in a G1, I think that's going to be really, really interesting. And I think he's in a pretty safe group in terms of the people he's working with and what they can give him. And he's around one of his trainers as well, with Zach in that group. So it's like, that will be really interesting. And then A Block has kind of got more names in a way, but probably I think will be outshone by B Block. But I guess there's a smaller like story just underneath there where Suji will face quite a lot of the former IWGP World Champions, which has been part of his thing that he's wanted to do. So they've built that in there, especially now they've moved Shingo into A Block as well. So, you know, you'll have him, you'll have Takeshita, you've got Goto in there. I'm missing one. What's the other one? Sonada. Oh, God. Maybe not looking forward to that one so much, but yeah, I think there's enough in there. There's enough like little things built up that it should be a decent tournament. But I think I agree with you that it would have been cool if it had been like a CMLL talent in there or someone, just for something different, really, because there is a lot of similarities to last year, even with like the Wolf interest. Yeah,
definitely could use some more fresh talent, but overall, I think it's a decent lineup. We had a question here from Def Triangle 720. Does a G1 need better kayfabe reasoning for certain talent to be allowed in a tournament? I find it baffling that Sonata comes back and immediately gets a slot in the G1 when he hasn't won anything, while Oiwa doesn't get a spot.
I agree with that. I don't think that it makes a lot of sense for a guy like Sonata to just come in and get an automatic lock. The reasoning that they're going with for, we haven't gone over them yet, but we will later, but the guys that are doing the play-ins that were already in last year's tournament, they tended to be the people that were at the bottom of the blocks, and that's why they're having to re-earn their spots back in. And so you could make the argument like Sonata last year, he's had success over the last calendar year and he did well in last year's tournament. Blase. But yeah, I think there's not always the most coherent and cohesive like booking patterns and reasons when it comes to tournament booking with New Japan lately.
And he's a former world champion.
Yeah, but when you look at like, if you're going to do that, when you look at like the final block standings from last year, it doesn't hold up too well, because there are people in there automatically, like Driller's in there. Like he finished quite low down. I think he finished below Oiwa actually. So it's like it doesn't. It's a good idea to kind of give it some sort of like structure to it or some reasoning, but it doesn't always hold up when you look at like that. Like you could say like Aaron Wolf's been a never champion in that time. Like, is that worth more? Like, what has Sonata done in the last 12 months? So, I don't know. I guess I like that the idea they're trying to give some reasoning behind it, but yeah, maybe needs a little bit more. But that's me being a numbers geek as well, because the first thing I did was go and look at the last year's like G1 standings, and I'm like, no, that doesn't add up. Like, nice try, but yeah, that's not working for me.
Yeah, you know, I will say this: back earlier this year, early in the year, like around the time of March or February, I did a G1. The guys that I felt like were locks, the guys that I thought were possible, and I did like a whole field, and I got a lot of flack from the Discord, mutants about it. I was like 98% right. Like I'm almost like completely right with the list I had, and I just reshared it in the Discord if anybody wants to see it. So yeah,
victory lap.
Pretty vindicated here when it's all said and done.
We had another question from Les Commission 7252. Who's a notable name that was missing during the G1 bracket announcement? Are you surprised that there isn't a name from AEW that hasn't worked or appeared in New Japan for a long time that didn't get announced for the tournament?
What, they thought Jericho's coming back?
Hi guys.
Thought Jericho was gonna do a G1. The only thing is the names of guys that got left out are the guys that are playing in, and I feel like I have more criticism about the play-ins this year than I do about the G1 fields themselves, because it's pretty open and shut who should be winning those play-ins. And you kind of always want there to be a little bit of like, oh, they earned their way in, or oh, it's anticipatory. Like, I don't know who's going to win it, so it's kind of a shock. But this year, the guys that are listed, you're like, these 4 guys should be the people. And if they don't wind up being the people, you fucked up your G1. So you better do the right thing and just go chalk and make sure that Wolf, KOB, and Oiwa get into the fucking tournament.
Yeah.
Did you prefer it when they did like the mini tournament?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that because but that was when they had like the longer Soul Tour, wasn't it? When they were doing that. But
yeah.
This one's just like 2 Korokans, so it's just like, I'll just chuck them up there. And one of them's like the Tiger Mask show, so like you probably didn't even need it, like in that regard.
Sure. Well, then in that case, what I kind of feel like you could have done here easily is like still just put KOB in. I don't know why they're even fighting their way in. And then if you want like a Wolf and an Oiwa as 2 young guys to prove themselves to get in, sure, fine, do that, you know?
Yeah, the KOB exclusion's very weird, especially since they've been the tag team champions for half the year. You know, they almost broke defense records, and like they've been the super hot act, and for them to be like, oh, well, sorry, you gotta qualify because, you know, you haven't a lot of singles wins, but it's like, historically, the tag team champions have kind of had locked in spots, and you're telling me, you know, Tangaloa, Tamatonga didn't have to fight for their spots, and they got slated in every year, and so you're just gonna make KOB fight in. It does seem kind of weird.
They just do shit to do shit sometimes, bro. Like,
yeah.
And I think part of it's like they really wanted that tag team title match later in the card to just really have stakes, and I think they wanted when KOB lost the titles for the crowd to just feel the sting, like for heat, like they're not in the G1 now they got to come back. Fuck.
Now we gotta go to Corkin and see if they're gonna qualify.
Now I have to buy another ticket to come to a live audience show and make sure my guys get in.
Oh man.
Are you looking forward to seeing them kind of wrestle more individually across the course of the tournament?
Yeah, definitely. Sure. Especially with the blocks that they could end up in. So Yuto Ice, he would end up in that A block, which, I mean, that's a matchup with Shingo, with Tsuji, Takeshita, Bolton, Goto. Like, it's going to be some like hard-hitting action there with Yuto Ice with some of those guys.
He'll be fun. He'll be fun because just like he has that kind of natural charisma. But I'm actually quite interested to see how Oscar does because he's like, he wants to be like a really athletic wrestler in part, and they have to remind him like, you're 6 foot something, you know. You're a big tall guy, you're a big power guy. Yeah. But him being in there with like so many of the kind of really good in-ring wrestlers, and then it'd just be nice to see something like come out of him as well, because it's not like he gets overshadowed by Yuto, but it's like it's very hard to be kind of more of a force when you've got someone who just kind of jumps off the page stood in front of you. So I want to see more out of him. I'm probably more interested in that than I am in Yuto, and that's just my kind of like things that I enjoy watching. So yeah, seeing him mix it up in B block is probably like one of the things that's top of my list for things that are going to be entertaining this year. I'm saying this and then I'm going like, please don't do something fucking stupid in the play-ins. Like, there's going to be one stupid result. Can we not, please?
Here's can't buy the pimp cane.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Here's one thing I will say, Oscar, if you're listening, you know, if these guys come to you and they try to tell you more monster, tell them, fuck off. All right. Because listen to me, bro.
He's too nice. He's like the nicest guy ever. He wouldn't do it.
Listen to me right now, okay? Lance Archer was with this company for years and years and years and years, and they kept telling him, tone it down, work slower, more monster, be meaner. And guess what? He did that shit for years, and guess where it got him? nowhere. And then one year, this guy decided, you know what? I'm going to start doing some flips. And guess what? He got a not millions, but he got hundreds of thousands of dollars added to his salary and signed abroad. Okay. Because he started doing flips, and he still comes back and works for this company and makes tons of money all the time. You go out there and you be great. Don't let them tell you not to.
And of course, it says embrace RLPW. Which also says, where does Yuto rank in terms of ices?
Well, he's better than the United States' ice. I can tell you that much.
Oh man,
there's Vanilla Ice.
Yeah,
One Hit Wonder.
Ice Cube.
Does that count? That's a first name. That's not a last name.
But he's ice.
I guess he's still an ice.
Well, then you got Ice T. All right. I feel like
vanilla,
vanilla, Cube, and tea. I feel like this is a One Nation Radio question more so than it is. But here's the thing: is like they're more familiar with the hip hop artists than probably we are.
Well, that definitely counts for me.
They haven't seen enough of Yuto Ice yet to properly assess him.
Yeah.
Maybe this is something we need to address at FOH this year.
Well, let's move on to the next match on this card. We had the Never Openweight title match. We had Aaron Wolf defeating Ren Narita in 9 minutes and 24 seconds to once again become the Never Openweight champion.
I'm not surprised at all what happened here. I thought that this match went 100 million% to a T with exactly what I expected it to be in every aspect. I expected the House of Torturism. I expected the numbers game, and then the Hantai guys to come out, even the odds, and for Aaron Wolf to finally even up the score against Ren Narita on a one-on-one basis and capture the crown. Rich says Ren Narita came out here wearing some bullshit, LOL. But I thought that Aaron Wolf got good reactions. I thought the crowd was really into it. I thought the match was fairly entertaining. It wasn't anything that was overly different from what we had seen perhaps on, say, January 4th. Probably similar vein, maybe not the same level of pageantry and the same level of intrigue, because it wasn't the first time we've ever seen Aaron Wolf, but a very similar happening. But I have seen the reactions to the title change, and I've seen the reactions to the match itself, and a lot of fans seem to be fairly or at least in the West, seem to be fairly down on this overall as a whole. And I'm wondering if it's because they're either hoping to see something different out of the presentation and the booking of Aaron Wolf at this point, or his progress, or if it's just exhaustion with House of Torturism and hoping 6 months on we would have already been done with this sort of thing. I don't know, but to me this wasn't that different from the Evil match, and I felt like it kind of served a lot of the same purposes. And also hopefully this is the end of Wolf having to deal with House of Torturism for the time being, and he's going to go on. If he doesn't get in the G1, there's something seriously wrong within the company from how they're using this guy and what we're doing from a business perspective. And the alarm bell should start ringing off immediately. But my assumption is he's going into the G1. You'd be lighting money on fire if you don't have him in the tournament. But I don't know. I felt like this served its purpose. They're going to get the clips that they can show on TV and the news and, in the papers, and it's a learning experience, and we move on. Are there criticisms to be had about how they have maneuvered him across the way? Possibly, but I thought this was fine. I didn't think it was bad at all.
think the thing with Aaron Wolf is that we definitely have different expectations in the West to what they do in Japan. I think that they give people a lot more time to develop in the way that we just don't. Like, we just want to see constant progress and big spots straight away. And I think it's difficult when your first match is at somewhere like Wrestle Kingdom to do the follow-up. And yeah, it was like very much a repeat performance, but I do think that he has improved. You can see his improvement in this one. You can see that obviously his body shape is so much better now he's been out on the road as well. And I just thought there was little things. I think he felt so much more confident in what he was doing. I don't think he was led anywhere near as much as what he was, when we look back in January. And I think they played somewhat on his like inexperience still. So when he like stutters when he goes for angle slam and like Narita slips out of it, and then he doesn't really know what to do. Sorry, it's a back elbow. And he's just like, oh, shit, like he's not on the floor or he's not right behind me. And then he kind of gets caught then because he's not able to anticipate what to do next. So I thought they put nice kind of bits into it. And it's hard because it's like he's in there with Ren Narita, right? It's like you're not expecting a masterpiece. But yeah, I just think that he has really nice kind of babyface fire as well. I think he plays really well to the crowd. He knows how to do that. Obviously, he's got the one-up spot because they're there to see him. And it does feel very much like reinforcement. And I think that that's where, when I think about the Dominion losses, the pre-Dominion losses for him and for Tsuji, and then this getting a TV thing, it was just like, okay, they're just going to reinforce that these are our guys. And the way they think they can do that is having these big wins to like a bigger audience than your standard audience. And maybe, when you look at the start of this year, he would have been better off if he was facing a Shingo or a Goto or whatever. But it's like, I don't know if that's even putting too much on him. And then where do you go? What is there that you can kind of market with him? And it's just easy marketing, isn't it? Like he does the big slam on Fale at Dontaku, and you stick that on the front of every newspaper, and you do the same with this here. But I do think, he's coming along nicely. I guess it depends what you want. Whether you want him to mix everything up straight away, and you think that that's going to be like the key to him being a drawing card for New Japan, outside of kind of just, I guess it's just like, what's the word? They're just like, he's wrestling, that's cool, let's find out what that is. But you want more than that. So I don't mind him having the slower development. I do agree with you that if he's not in the G1, like we might as well go home. It'd just be a waste of investment. But I think he will be, and I think he'll be in the B block. And yeah, he's going to have very structured matches. He's kind of reminds me of like a senior wrestler once they're in their kind of 50s, 60s, and they start to like strip the matches down to most simple structure, very Suzuki-like in a way. And you're kind of having to do that with him. But he has enough explosiveness, and he's seeming to kind of really kind of capture that a little bit more now, that he's always going to be able to get those kind of pops from the crowd. But it's like, you just keep into a real simple structure right now and then see where you get to. And it's interesting to think about, where will he get to? Because obviously he has crossover appeal there. Like, can't get over still like the noise that we heard when he came out of the dome. Like, never heard anything like that in my life. And it was, so there is obviously something there. He's going to be key for that. You can look at what he was doing, like the thing on Cyber Agent, where that should have tipped us off to something happening, really. So it's like they obviously see him as such a key part. But I guess you just start to wonder, where will the ceiling be? Where can they get him to? How long will it take? And these are all the big questions. So yeah, we'll see how he does with the G1, and obviously having that sort of thing on his body as well, because he's wrestled a lot of tags this year. He's wrestled a lot of kind of multi-man tags, and they're good for him because it's being around everybody, learning all the planning and all that sort of thing. It's good, but there's still so much expectation on the poor guy, isn't there?
Oh yeah, but I'm kind of with Josh here. I felt like this match was kind of what I was expecting. Laid out very similar to the Evil match. Also, I think the Wrestle Kingdom match just had more of a novelty to it because it was the debut and bigger stage. Grand stage of them all. Evil's over. But they still kind of follow a similar formula here. And to me, I was more kind of focused on, all right, how is Aaron Wolf progressing? And like Trish said, I do think that he's improved, and he just seems a little bit more natural in the ring, moves around more natural, and he's starting to implement some new moves into his arsenal. He had a big lariat to Ren Narita at one point that looked awesome, and he's starting to implement some suplexes. He's doing that jumping landslide type maneuver, and so he's starting to build more of his repertoire instead of just the body slam, elbow drop kind of thing. So I think he's definitely progressing. He's learning more. He has a crowd connection, and despite the horrible booking, he's still over. The crowd was really behind him. Every time he got on offense, big Wolf chants, and they pop huge for him. And so despite the bad booking, they still have something there. And now it's time, like Van Damme said, to take off the House of Torture training wheels and let's see what else he can do. And he's going to be facing Yoshihashi in the play-in. So I think that's a good match for him right there. Yoshihashi is a solid hand and I think can lead him to a very good match. And as much as I've enjoyed, Yoshihashi over the last couple of years, I definitely think that you got to put Aaron Wolf in here, or what are we doing? And for Wolf, in that B block, I mean, he's gonna have Saber, he's gonna have Gabe Kidd, Drilla, Hanare. There's some like hard hitting guys in there. I feel like he's set up to have some really good matches. Unfortunately, he'll be in there for Narita again, so we will get that one more time. But the other guys, also Umino, Uemura, there'll be another playoff. Oscar will probably be the other guy in there for him to go against. So he will be forced to have some other types of matches against other types of wrestlers. I think that's going to be very good for him. And I think we'll truly see what he can offer when he's in there with a guy like Zack Sabre Jr.
We're probably jumping a little too far ahead of ourselves, but here is a best and worst case scenario about if he's in that B block and he wrestles Narita again. On the one hand, you could probably stomach him taking a loss to Ren Narita in the third match because it's just a G1 match. If the trade-off is he turns around and gets a major victory over an actual name star to even things out. The bad part is he's also the never champion. So if he does lose to Narita,
stop it.
We're gonna see a fourth match between these guys later on.
Can you not put that out in the world? There's too many people that
Destruction in Bipu, Narita versus Wolf.
So maybe it's better he not lose to Narita in that third match.
That's going to be the one result that I'm going to be like, please don't do this. Please don't do this. I'm going to be so invested in that match, but I really shouldn't.
We had some questions here. Bungholio the Mighty says, is Aaron Wolf's ceiling the never title in House of Torture, or will the powers that be in NJPW make him a global champion?
No, his ceiling is world champion of the fucking company.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, no. I'm sorry. Let me take that back. His ceiling is top star and ace of the fucking company, potentially. Now, I'm not saying he's going to do those things, but when you're asking what is his ceiling, that's his ceiling. He's the biggest star from a country perspective right now that works in that company.
Yeah.
He's the biggest name in the company.
And again, his crowd reaction, despite the bad booking, like he's a huge star. And so if they can get him to the point where he's a champion, like I think that's the absolute goal right there.
Rich has a comment here. He says, can he wrestle a good wrestler for the first time ever? He should start there, LOL.
Well, if he gets in that B block, he'll be wrestling a lot of good wrestlers.
He's going to be wrestling Yoshihashi.
Yeah.
That's a start. But when we ask what's his ceiling, that's his ceiling.
Yeah. Next question from Just a Little Bear 01. Do you feel Chris Charlton saying at the end of the Never Title match that Aaron Wolf has escaped the House of Torture? It's kind of a mission that the matches were awful and did Wolf a disservice.
Trish.
Why am I getting this one? Sometimes I don't think everything that they say on commentary, especially English commentary, is like company endorsed. Mm-hmm. I think sometimes they just say how they feel. I think there's some lines I actually watch. I don't always watch in English. I just mix it up a bit. And there were some parts of like the Jake Lee match where they're just like, it's only been 5 minutes, you know. That's not what, like, yeah, this is his idea of a hardcore match. Like, it was scathing and in a very trying not to be way. But yeah, so I don't think you could look at it as like, oh, the company is saying like we fought this thing. I think they think it works. I think they think that this is a path pathway for him to have these kind of big moments that they can market in a way that they couldn't do if he was wrestling, the people that we want to see him wrestle from our perspective, So I don't think they look at it this way. And I think they'll look at, the number being slightly up on last year and that sort of thing and think, okay, this has worked for us a little bit. And like, it gives him the breathing space to learn without having to do the kind of the big matches that we're hopefully going to see now. So, yeah, I just think that's their commentary. And look, I can't disagree that they've been poor matches. I can't disagree that it's been a struggle to watch and you want to see this guy do other things. But yeah, I don't think that's shared by everybody.
Yeah, we had a question last week about, Walker Stewart and was he doing too much to get the cat over with Heo and Super Juniors, and we're like, no, that was his job. Like he had to get over what was on the screen. And I think Chris Charlton is very good at getting over what's on the screen while also blending in the reality of how fans actually feel. And I think the comment he made, it was putting over, like, yeah, he finally, he beat these guys. Maybe it's time for him to move on. But also, that's a very real sentiment that we're all thinking and feeling. And also, he didn't go out there and do like a tirade on, he shouldn't be wrestling these guys anymore, blah blah blah. But he's getting a story over. Yeah, he's wrestled Evil. He wrestled Fale, second time Narita. Yeah, hopefully he's finally done. And I think he just does a great job of putting over what they're trying to do on screen while also kind of being the voice of the fan and getting those kind of sly comments in there.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, he's a babyface. They're a heel faction. They have terrorized him all year long, and now he has triumphed. I love when he's able to take what is happening in the kayfabe and, basically, like you said, echo fan sentiments. That's what he did 2 years ago on January 5th at Wrestle.
You made us such a beautiful setup for that one.
And I see nothing wrong with anything he's done ever, period.
He was speaking solely for Josh that night.
If he speaks truth to power, then more, all the more credit to him.
I think you have a point outside the shot, but I think you have a point about it's not a bad thing for announcers to kind of acknowledge the complaints of fans, even if it's more West or East or whatever, but it makes sense to do that too, because it's like, rather than thinking like you have to accept that this is good, which is the way like WWE did their commentary.
Yeah. Then Stale Burger Bun says, is Wolf finally out of the hot vortex, or will he get jumped by Chase Owens in the G1 qualifiers?
We just said we got to go through Ren Narita again.
No, like I think what he's saying is like, what if like he gets jumped and he doesn't get in, but now he's got a new never title challenger on that he could face off on that tour.
Bro,
but I'm gonna need more hammers to attack Gato with.
That would be awful. But considering he's facing Yoshihashi, it'd be very weird to have Chase Owens be in the mix there. So, well,
stop putting these things out in the world.
Well, let's move on to the next match. IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team title on the line. United Empire, Great Okan and Hanare defeat the Knockout Brothers, Oscar and Yuto Ice, 21 minutes and 30 seconds. So with that victory, Great Okan and Hanare have locked in their G1 spots. They've also stopped the hot streak of the Knockout Brothers, who are close to getting some records there, beating Bad Intentions and some other teams there, potentially getting the V7, but being stopped short here. What you guys think of this one?
I'll say a couple things. Someone asked earlier about like wrestlers with the most pageantry, and then it not aligning with all their performances.
Okan.
Oh, you're gonna go Okan. Yeah,
Okan's got to be on that list. The other thing too is how you mentioned sometimes the what they say on commentary, especially with the Western English speaking commentary, doesn't always align with like basically what management is telling them to say, because they're sometimes having to like figure it out for themselves on the fly. So it's like we kind of pushed that idea like, hey, they're chasing these records, they're trying to get to V10, whatever. But it's like, I don't remember very many times hearing Knockout Brothers say that in backstage comments or interviews. I don't remember, seeing too much stuff from like the public, like from the company press, where that was like a big story that was being. It's not even like when Hiromu was saying, I want to break the record, for the junior title. These guys weren't necessarily doing that. I feel like this is something more that's like fans in the West started hoping for that, and then they started kind of echoing it, but it wasn't like a company, imperative or whatever. So I'm fine with the fact that they didn't like break the record. I don't even think it's a thing where it's like, oh, now they have something to chase. It's just like, it is what it is. With that being said, I thought this match was pretty incredible, and it's just another incredible tag team title defense tacked on to nothing but incredible tag team title defense and title win matches for Knockout Brothers. In the entirety of our time doing this show, the only other like title runs that I can point to that have the same level of greatness would be the time when when basically it was both never 6-man tag team title runs, where it was Ishii and Okada and Tanahashi, and then the other time where it was Ishii and Bishamon. Those two teams had some of the greatest but none of them did it with this title, with the big boy title. So I mean, like, we might have already just witnessed in our lifetimes the best like straight up IWGP title run, or at least title defense record that has ever existed on tape, period.
Yeah.
They just, they performed a bit of a miracle because they got something out of Okan that nobody else seems to have managed to do so far this year or for quite some time. But they've been such a revitalization for the division. And it's not just them. It's like the fact that they've pulled in like a lot of the really strong singles workers to work in like the division this year with Zack and Oira, and obviously like Umino and Umaro, and it's really helped. It's felt from being such a throwaway for the last however long to kind of something that they're really invested in. And I think that also helps when you're putting someone like Jake Lee as the number one contender as well. It's like, it's nice to mix it up a bit, but yeah, I get the idea of like leaving them something in the chase or not kind of blowing everything now, and they're already like the most successful kind of first time champions and that sort of thing. But it's also a case of, would it hurt? Would it hurt to have them continue and,
just fucking run the table? Yeah,
why not? Like, you establish these guys, and then you're going to do the single stuff with the G1, which is going to show a different side of them. I'm probably more on the side of, I think it might have been better just to keep them on them and just keep this going. I don't think they lose any momentum, like, because sometimes I think like they just think like with baby faces, especially like if you do this for so long, they're going to start losing their kind of the pops and like the ground that they've made, and then we just need to do a change, and then we can have them chase again. But sometimes it's just like, just have them win. Just have them win. And I kind of did feel like that here, and I think you were right. Obviously, it was the G1 announcements was a giveaway, but it was like, why do we need to do this? Let's just have them win, have them put in, and just keep kind of the spotlight on them. Because I guess that's the question when you look at what they've done with like Wolf and Tsuji as well. It's like, what happens if we just keep the spotlight on them rather than having them have to keep finding their way back up, because we're still trying to establish them? But this is a different way of establishing them. And I look at the success of what they've done with Stardom. We're doing that with like just focusing on like Kamitani last year. Like we didn't change it. We didn't move it across from it. We just said, we're all about like this one wrestler this year. And then you get the dividends that are coming off this year. And I think it would be kind of cool just to go, this is like the premier tag team in the world, and they work for New Japan Wrestling, Pro Wrestling, and we're right behind them, rather than kind of doing this thing where we have to kind of like, oh, we need to just cut it off now so then they can do something more later, or that sort of thing. I'd like to see them kind of really get behind someone in that way. I think that's a frustration I think we felt for quite a few years, and I thought that this was a really good opportunity because it is a division that you don't really have to worry about. It's not like you've not got people knocking on the door like the singles stuff. So yeah, I would like to see them run all the way through, really. I guess you can do it, and you can build them up for Wrestle Kingdom, and you can do something big there. But I would have been more fond of them keeping the belts here than going on to Okan and Hanare. And that's not to disrespect Hanare especially, who I think's he's got so much energy back this year since he come back. And, he always brings great physicality to his matches. One day I'd like him to not have to wrestle like a copy of Ishii, but we are where we are. But yeah, that's not to disrespect them. And I have no interest in seeing Okan with any belt, so I'm not even going to pretend. But yeah, I would have liked to see it stay.
Yeah, I thought the match rocked. Also, they built a lot around Yuto Ice and Hanare and their history. And, Yuto Ice kind of seems to do this every time, where he kind of builds up a personal rivalry of one half of the tag team. Last time it was with Yuya Uemura, then it was with Oiwa. He kind of gets this, personal rivalry going. And so, yeah, I thought their interactions were great. Hanare, I believe, was like bleeding from the ear, it looked like. He might have got a concussion. He wasn't out in the main event with the rest of the United Empire. But yeah, some of their strike exchanges were just absolutely awesome and rocking each other. And the great spots where Yuto throws a punch at Hanare's head, but of course, it's Islander head. You don't attack an Islander head, so he ended up hurting his hand, punching Hanare's head. And yeah, it was just really great. A lot of fire there. And
I think they like to be called Asian Pacific Islanders these days, Jeremy. So
excuse me. And this was one of the moments, earlier I mentioned that it felt like they made the right call of Tai Chi winning. Like, he was over in the building. He got the win. Satisfied the fans. This is the moment where I feel like they did the opposite of where clearly Knockout Brothers are the bigger stars, especially Yuto Ice. The crowd's like living and dying with them. They want to see them continue running and keep going, and then they lose. And especially it's Yuto getting the pin there. They did the Imperial Bomb gimmick they did to win the Never Six-Man titles, and they did that to him and pinned him. And it's like, man, you kind of cooled him off. And also, at some point, yes, they have to lose, and he has to lose somebody, but it just didn't feel like the right time. It just kind of felt like, well, here's our plan. We're going with Okan Hanare, and sometimes following plans and long-term booking is good. It can give you direction. But I think when you get too deep in that, your heels dug into your plans, and you ignore listening to the crowd and going with what's hot, it's like, clearly these guys have not cooled off. Like, every building they go to, they're still getting the best reactions. Yuto Ice is still the best in the promos, getting the crowd hyped into it, and it hasn't cooled off yet or shown any signs of cooling off. So why would you shoot a bull at it if you didn't have to?
Well, I mean, I think the most charitable way that you could read this is we took the titles off them because we want to give them quote unquote singles pushes. So now they're free to like focus on some singles action, but they're not really going to push them. I kind of feel like it's the opposite. I feel like the reality is like, oh, they're this big tag team act that are so hot that if we keep the titles on them, and I feel like they think that if we have them get beat a lot in this tournament, which they probably are, I mean, they're still going to do respectful, but they're going to get beat a lot, then it somehow hurts the belts or hurts their run as like a tag team. So I feel like they probably feel like we're doing them a favor. We're giving them like the reprieve of like, we're taking the belts off them. There's less pressure. Now they can like focus on their singles, take their losses, and then regroup and rechase these belts and get them back probably by Wrestle Kingdom or before World Tag League or whatever the fuck. But yeah, I agree. I mean, I feel like the hot hand's the better way to go, and let them break the fucking record. Who cares? And if it does turn into a situation where it's like, hey, they're so hot as a tag team, we now need to start like pushing them as singles guys, so be it. That's what you kind of need at this point as a company. Like, you can't avoid stepping on Reiwa guys and outsiders and foreigners' toes just because these guys happen to be over, and they're not supposed to be, because they don't look like they're supposed to be, and they weren't treated like they were supposed to be from the time they were signed, and they're definitely not paid like they're supposed to be. But so be it. If you stumbled your way into one of the biggest stars in the company, and it's funny, people in the West still don't see it, but like, we see it, and we're going to be the early adopters who are going to be right, provided they don't fuck it up. and screw these guys over and get them signed over to WWE like the rumors were earlier, at the end of last year. What's the worst you're going to do? Luck your way into like a top drawing act for your company who can make you tons of money? That's what you need right now. And that will never happen with Great O'Khan.
Got some questions here. Let's question 7252 says, do you guys think they took the titles off KOB because they wanted to keep the white boys of Carl and Bernard tag title defense intact in the history books, or because O'Khan and Hanare are more notable names to be in the G1?
I think they're all going to be in the G1. I think we've already kind of stated why, at least I've stated what I think their reasoning was behind this personally.
Yeah, but I do. Sorry, go ahead, Trish.
No, it's all right. I think it's a good shout. It's a good shout. Like, it's the sort of thing that they do, right? Quite often that they'll just say, okay, we're not going to do this, and then we'll bring you back in. But again, like with the G1, it's like, I don't know. I'd have them win a bit more. Yeah, especially Yuto, I guess they'll push him first. But it's like, have him be up and competitive in that way, and it only strengthens your division when you're using singles guys in there anyway. To have like your tag guys as stronger, but I'm asking a lot there when we know kind of how it plays out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think that when it came down to the winners here, I'll say we're going to go with the more established guys getting the G1 because they like to do this thing of the newer, younger guys having to earn their way in. In the past, Bolton and Callum and some of these other new guys had to scratch and claw and get into the G1. So I see what they did there, but I still think it should have been the other way around. So, but I don't think it really had anything necessarily to do with the title defense, like we mentioned earlier. Rainbow Sand Pig says, do you think having the Knockout Brothers fail to overtake Bad Intentions was simply about selling tickets to the play-in matches, or more about leaving them something to chase?
I don't think it was a real thing that the company actually was focusing on.
Yeah, I think it was kind of what Samsa said last week. Samsa was like, a lot of times I'll bring up records and stats and the company would have no idea and be like, oh, well, let's break it since let's stop them from breaking it since it's out there. And so I feel like a very similar thing happened where like we're the ones, all the stat guys are pushing the thing of like, oh yeah, they're gonna beat Bad Intentions record, and they're probably like, oh, let's not have them do that. So yeah.
I think probably here's what happened. They were going to break the record, and then Bushiroad sold off their shares, right? And Cyber Agent found out about it, and Cyber Agent has, main event Carl Anderson in their ear, and he was like, brother, they're about to break my record. Don't fucking, you got just as much say as TV Asahi these days. I got Gato on speed dial. You tell them that these Green Boys are not fucking breaking my record for anything, because we're coming back, me.
Matt, if Cyber Agent are responsible for them coming back in the company, like,
I'm pretty sure Cyber Agent put the kibosh on this entire storyline, and you can go ahead and aggregate that shit. I don't care.
Oh man, people love to steal stories, so
yes, they do.
Oh man. All right, well, let's move on to the IWGP Global Heavyweight title. We have a new champion, the Roughneck Shooter. Shota Umino defeats the Real Latino Man, Andrade El Idolo, and Drilla Maloney in 16 minutes and 20 seconds.
By far, and I mean this wholeheartedly, I think this is the worst booking decision that they made on the evening, and I'm shocked by it, to be honest with you. Very much so. Completely, and mainly because it completely upends every single prediction that I've made about the second half of the year and the G1 and Shota Umino and his storyline progressions and his motivations, character, and what's going to happen at Wrestle Kingdom. It's done. I'm genuinely perplexed about. Now, I think everybody sort of expected, hey, we're doing this triple threat match here because Andrade isn't going to actually take the fall. We need another guy involved to take the fall there. I wasn't always completely sold on that because I felt like it may just serve a purpose to get two deserving upper mid card guys on, in the spot, that sort of thing. And I think that's proven to be true. But all the same, I sort of expected it to really just be Drilla here. I thought he was the deserving guy and made more sense to like get the white belt run. Shota winning here, there's nothing wrong with it. It's fine. But for a guy who the entire story for him, and I'm not even a Shota stan, but for a guy that you have held off from him ever achieving any sort of title victory, singles or multi-man, or he's never won a tournament, he's never won anything in this company whatsoever. And for it to be at Dominion and not even in the semi-main event, but like third from the top, and it's some good names, but it's a triple threat match, and you did it here, that just like, it's the most Shota shit ever, because it's like now the cherry's popped. So you can't ever go back and like put the genie back in the bottle and say like, oh, we're going to give him the big title win. Like, this is his big title win. And it's an achievement, but it's not, if you held it off for this many years, it should have been a big achievement. If he was going to beat Andrade, then it should have been in the semi-main event, and it should have been just off of his own sheer, like, grit, guts, and there shouldn't have been anybody else involved in the fucking match. And there should have been like confetti or something, like, or people coming out and carrying him around. But that's not what happened. He just kind of got the white belt. The white belt also feels, with him winning it this way, it feels kind of, again, less than, like, I don't know. I want the red belt back at this point. Like, why the fuck did we get rid of Kenny's belt? Like, that was a terrible decision at this point. So I don't know. The match was, now I'm complaining, the match was pretty good, as far as good as like a 3-way, just over 15-minute, title match could be with these guys involved. It was pretty good. So I'm not complaining about the quality of the match, but the booking here is just perplexing, honestly.
It's one of those things. I think that you're really onto something with like keeping him. So they said it's like his 19th title challenge on this one. And it does make you think like, yeah, well, you could have run that all the way up to a world title challenge. You could have had him win a G1 and run that all the way up to Wrestle Kingdom, and then you can really, really push that. And now you can't. And the way that they did it he didn't steal it from Drilla, but it felt like it in so many ways. And I think that goes with the crowd reaction as well, because the crowd was so much more into Drilla than they were into Shota. So you didn't even put him in a situation where like they were going to be behind him. And that felt like a mistake as well. And even more so when you make everything afterwards with Gabe and that all about Drilla, essentially. So it's like, he's just the guy with the belt, but all the story is around Drilla and Gabe. So all of it just felt out of place. It just didn't feel like the right moment. And it almost felt like, because they'd slotted like Andrade in where Gabe would have been. And it's like, we want to keep to that, but we haven't done any of the legwork to make it work. And then it's like, the stealing the moment felt like what they did with Suji at the Dome, but it's not the same. It's not the same. It's not the same type of moment. It's not the same place. It wasn't built up the same. It's not the type of match. Freeways never give you that sort of feeling that you get with a one-on-one victory, of feeling like you've really overcome something. This was very much just thrown together. It felt like coming out Dontaku. And it's like, yeah, so you don't feel any fulfillment from it. You don't feel any of the things that you should do for something that they've felt like they protected for so long, whether that has or not, whether it's just kind of fell into place. But I didn't think I thought he was the weakest part of the match too, which didn't help either. He just never really felt part of it. And I think some of that is the crap, because they were so into Drilla, and Andrade,
I think
it was feeling himself.
You got two English guys that can speak the same language laying the match out, and they're like, all right, brother,
Sure.
This is what I'm doing, and brother, this is what you're doing. Oh, Shota, do a back body drop, I guess. All right.
He just had so little part in some of like the sequences and stuff that like you almost forgot he was in there until like toward the end. And yeah, I don't get this one. It's bemuses me, and and you almost feel like they should have called like not even like an audible, but thought about it as soon as they heard like the crowd at the start, and it's just like, is this the right time for this guy to win? You know, are you still chasing this guy as like to be your top babyface, which it feels like? But if that's what they're doing, then I don't know if this works. I do wonder, do you think there could be a case of him losing this quickly going into the G1, or do you think that he just keeps hold of this thing for now?
You could, but it's just so stupid because what you said is true. They could have run this up to he's never won a title, and now he's challenging again for the world title on some big stage. Let's make money off the story. Now you can't make money off the story. So even if he does turn around and drop the white belt, what did this really, whether he keeps it or loses it, how does that help him? It doesn't help him at all. Like, best case scenario, he parlays this into a double gold dash at the Dome.
We need to stop doing double gold
because they love to have double champions in the Dome, and he's punched his ticket. We just don't know it. That's the best case scenario for this guy.
Yeah. Overall, I thought the match was very good, and also I agree with the booking decision, and it's a bigger thing to what I was saying of KOB. It was like, yeah, Drilla Maloney was super over, big reactions, the most over guy in the match, and one of the most over guys the whole night. And I think time after time, Drilla proves that he's getting over with the crowd. The crowd's into him. He looks like $1 million, looks like a star, and this should have been his night. And I personally would have been more compelled of what happens now with Gabe coming back. And he wants the title that Drilla has, and it's like, all right, there's this old, war dog kind of history there. Drilla says he's still loyal to his friends, but Gabe's all about AEW and Death Riders and this and that. And I feel like that would have been a more compelling story and program going forward in G1 versus kind of rehashing Umino and Gabe and kind of playing on their personal history. And also Drilla was still kind of apart, but also kind of in the distance, kind of watching it all go down. And so I just feel like, it was a little bit deflating. And friend of the show, Brian, he was there live watching it. And he was like, the crowd was like pissed in the moment where after the Drilla Killa and Umino breaks the pin up.
Yep.
Yeah, the crowd was like, he's like, there was heat there. They were booing. They did not like that. And he's like, I hope he didn't steal the pin there. Because, if Umino had won it right there, oh my gosh,
that's a classic WWE triple threat finish.
Yeah, they would have thrown trash at that man if he had won that way. And him winning the title here, it just didn't feel like his moment. It felt like the story was really a Drilla's ascension, and we've seen him climb the ranks since being out of the tag team of Clark Connors, and he keeps getting closer and closer. And it seemed like this should have been more about Drilla cementing his name versus, I feel like Umino, his whole story since coming back was like, he's supposed to be the next ace. He's supposed to be the top star, and he keeps failing. You would think, his kind of solution to his story is, he's going to win the world title. But now they kind of slot him to like, he's just going to be this white belt kind of guy, and he might never get the world title.
I mean, I think for some fans, right, there's probably those people who are looking at the G1 field right now, and they're like, okay, Suji's got the world title. Callum just dropped the title. Now Shota has won the white belt. Oh, baby. Because those are like three of the top potential, young guys that you could be slotting to go to finals or win it. And now they're kind of off the board. And if you're like a Uemura supporter, and I'm sure there's other people, I'm just throwing a name out there, but that's the first one that pops in my mind. If you're like someone who's like, I really want to see Uemura like go to the top, then you're like, fuck yeah, let's go Shota, get that white belt, But like, I'm just thinking of it from a pure dollars and cents standpoint. This just doesn't financially make sense. It harkens back to what I said earlier, where it's like sometimes with the creative lately, they're doing shit and you don't even know why. It's like, why would you hold off on this dude for this many years, for this many challenges to fail, to turn around and pull the trigger here on this night? Like, all right, bro. Well, I guess we don't want to capitalize off of, for Gato being the guy who's gotten all of the credit for all of these years as this master long-term storyteller and sprinkle in the breadcrumbs that we can all, munch on and eat up and follow, the trail. You've been following this trail for this many years and it ends right here. You're like, what the fuck, dude? Like, this is the gingerbread you've been building for me? Like, this is not that good. Like, what are we doing? And I don't know if you guys saw like the post-match comments between him and Gabe. It's like, he got a little cheeky with Gabe, right? And I thought, okay, that's pretty exciting. He's throwing some pops in there, making it fresh and exciting. And then Gabe just utterly, completely obliterated this man on social media on such a deep personal level to where it was like, okay, this is way beyond shooting in pro wrestling, to the point where you have buried this man so far under. And I know that like it's never going to show up in the Japanese fans are probably never even going to notice it or even really care. It's not going to show up in a VTR when they actually wrestle or whatever. But like for the Western audience, you read that tweet, it's so filled with vitriol that it doesn't even get you excited about the match. You're just like, yeah, Shota shouldn't be wrestling him. He's not on his level. Like, there's levels to this, and Gabe has clearly identified the fact of that this man just does not belong in the ring with it, or maybe even in the business at all. He probably shouldn't be wrestling, according to the kid, is what I'm reading here.
Put on a ref shirt like your dad.
Yeah, like this man should be he should be out there with what's with Kikuchi, just like out, giving the guys waters.
Oh man. We have some questions here. Wukong 901 says, thoughts for the triple threat, was putting the strap on Shota a mistake? Side note, when did Drilla get so over? I'm more than happy for him. Caught me by surprise.
If you missed Drilla getting over, you ain't been paying attention the last year, bud. That's the only thing I'll say about that.
I think he got a real hand out of the tag league, the stuff with the team with Shingo. I think that really, really helped him to kind of get a little bit more acceptance as well. That was a really good tag league for that sort of thing. I know Finley and Hiromu have gone, but it just, I don't know, it just created a bit of a different attachment to these guys than before. And I think him then also reaffirming that he was staying and really helped too, because there is that, you read it sometimes when you read comments on I was reading some comments on Zach saying he's going to face Kenny as a number one contenders match in AEW, and they were like, that's great, but please don't get poached. They're all petrified. They are, and I guess it plays in with the Gabe Kidd storyline as well, but they're absolutely petrified of these people that are going to invest in it and just going to run away to AEW. So him reaffirming that he was staying, I'm sure, had a big part to play in that at the start of the year as well.
I think it goes further back to when he put forks in the head of Francesco Akira, because we all know Japanese people hate Italians, and when they saw a big strong British man pulling Abdullah the Butcher on a little skinny Italian guy, that's what got him over. Don't let anyone change the narrative, try to change history. That's what took place there.
Yeah. Also, I think Osaka is just a war dog country. They've had the dog pound cage matches here a couple years in a row, and just feel like the war dogs are always over in Osaka. But it's like what Josh said. Yeah, they've built him along what Trish said too with the War Dragon stuff with him and Shingo. The last year, sense of kind of breaking off from Clark Connors, the singles push / the heavyweight push / team with Shingo. They've really done a great job elevating. I mean, think back. This guy beat Naito as a junior. So they saw something from him back then.
I want to know how they signed that off with Naito. How did that happen?
Well, it was like an egg peel win.
I know, but even still, geez.
I think
impressive.
I think Naito's a body guy, and he saw the delts, and he saw the traps, and he saw the abs. Fucking hell! Of course, I'm gonna lose to this guy.
Drilla was walking backstage, and Naito's like, oh.
Popping the pecs.
Open that eye up. He's like, what we got here? I see my destino.
Oh.
He was telling Creative he wasn't gonna do a job for him, and then fucking Drilla, he reached into his bag, he pulled out that baby oil, started splitting that all over his chest, start rubbing it. Naito's like, all right, you got me.
Oh man. We had some more questions here. Death Triangle 720. Do you think Shota finally winning gold has boosted his perception with fans?
No.
No. Maybe.
Not us.
But not with me.
And not with people in Osaka by the sound of it either. So.
Yeah. Boo that, man.
Man, that white belt sucks. That white belt has been nothing but curse like almost the entirety of its existence. Like it really makes you wonder, like, again, why does this, we shouldn't have it.
Live Valuable 381. Is this finally the moment Shota cements himself? Personally, I hope his Wrestle Kingdom match is a win against Takeshita or Mox.
I don't know. I think it speaks back to if you were an individual who was like, I don't have faith in Umino. We already saw what he can do in the Tokyo Dome. Keep him the fuck out of my main event. You're probably happy about this because then you know he has no business being in the main event and he'll probably be in some sort of meaningful singles match, but he's not going to be the main eventer. And I don't know, maybe that's for the better. Who knows?
I don't think at the moment it would be a great thing to put him in there with Takeshita. And that sounds crazy, right? Because Takeshita is the best worker in the company, but it's like with where Takeshita is with crowd reaction, where he is, like, why do you don't want to be fighting uphill battles. You don't need to be. So, and the Moxley thing, I'll believe it when I see it. But it's like, I don't think any of that benefits him. That's where this decision is so like crazy, because the most obvious thing to do would be to do the chase and then to do a Suji and say, you succeeded where I failed at the Dome and that sort of thing. And you've just taken it off the table. And then you look at the other options, and I don't think any of them change where he is. And you are in danger of typecasting him as like an upper mid-card guy now.
If he ever tries to like face off with Suji, he's gonna be like, I won the white belt. Suji's gonna be like,
yeah.
I held that shit a long time ago. So did Gabe. So did Finley. Like, what do you like, Osprey? What are we doing here?
Like, bro, I held both titles. I was double champion. Yeah, I think the Takeshita match on the right night, like if you get a crowd that really hates Takeshita, doesn't want to buy into him, like kind of the formula we were talking about earlier, like that could potentially help Umino. But again, he gets so much hate himself, like it's not like a full-on lock for that to happen. And yeah, I think him winning, and I think a lot of fans, they might see this as, like the old school WWF, or like, all right, the IC belt is what's your stepping stone to the world title. And that's not always the case in New Japan. Like, just because you win the white belt doesn't necessarily mean you're always in line to be elevated. It could just be like, yeah, you're an upper mid-card guy. We see you guys good enough to, main event, a B show when we're doing, multiple nights of a tour. But I don't think this necessarily guarantees, like, all right, they're giving him this to get him ready for the world title.
Yeah. I mean, that's one way you could look at it. You could look at it as like, this is the stepping stone to getting him ready. But the reality is, in this company, the white belt isn't that stepping stone. The G1 is really that true stepping stone. And I don't think he's going to win it this year. And before this match, I had him as my odds-on favorite. And now I'm 98% confident he's not winning the G1.
Well, yeah, that led into the next question. Last Commission 7252. Even as the global champion, as Young Boys pick for Shota to win the G1, still in for which end, or does he have a different pick now?
I haven't given any thought to who it will be now, but it's for sure not Shota Umino. That's done. The story's done.
He finished the story.
The story was supposed to be, you guys have all accomplished these other things, but the one thing that I've accomplished that the rest of you haven't is winning the G1 first from the young guys in our generation. But in order for that to have worked, he would have had to have failed at challenging for this title once again, so that the G1 was a redemption arc story. But now he's like got a title. It wouldn't make any sense. Like, it's done.
Yeah, I think his only hope, like you mentioned, is if they're like, all right, we need a drawing main event, double gold dash. He's going to win that. And it's him and Tsuji. Tsuji's in another double gold dash, and winner gets both belts.
Having that match for both belts at this point makes that match weaker than if they would have had him go into the tournament without the white belt. The only positive in that situation is if we can say like, oh, okay, they're going to amalgamate the white belt back into the black belt again, you know, but then you run into the same issue we've complained about in the past, where it's like, we have no secondary title now. What the fuck are we doing?
Yeah.
maybe Takeshita can just headline shows as the TV champion for a bit.
Yeah. Takeshita versus Owens, a main event anywhere around the world. I mean, Kevin would be great, but I was talking about Lone Star Outlaw.
Oh,
my first pony, Chase Owens.
There's some things I could call Chase Owens, but it would be unbecoming and unsubstantiated. But I believe it 100%.
Rambone Slam Pig says, how do you feel about Gabe's return? Do you think he came back with more focus and a better energy than his recent appearance in either NJPW or AEW? I got the impression that time away may have done him so good. So yeah, we didn't really cover that post-match. Gabe comes out, jumps Umino, does the whole, New Japan, FWE, AEW is for the best wrestlers, yada yada, and essentially stakes his claim for the global title.
I mean, it wasn't too different from what he did earlier in the year at New Beginning for me. And I believe Rich when he says he's refocused and in incredible shape, but I've never been one to doubt how good Gabe is in the first place. I think Gabe is, one of the best talents in the world.
I think he'll want to make up for last year as well. And in a way, that's the only thing that really worries me about him this summer. And I could lose some of the work shoot stuff that especially doesn't work for me with New Japan, where a lot of people don't know everything about the company. But yeah, my biggest fear is that, he's just coming off another injury and he's going to want to make up for last year and he's going to push himself too hard. And that's probably what worries me more, because I don't have any qualms about him in ring. I don't think that's an issue. He should have good heat to all his matches and that sort of thing. And so, yeah, it's just a case of, I think he puts a lot on himself. And you've got to balance that now. And he also has to think about, essentially your career is just as much outside of here now as it is. So as much as you can benefit from having a great G1, he just has to be careful that he doesn't try and do too much and end up in the same scenarios where he was last year. But yeah, I don't have any qualms. I don't know. I always wonder where the anti-Gabe stuff kind of comes from. And some of it's the gimmick, right? And some of it's just, I don't know, maybe it's a promo type, I don't know. But I don't feel it with him. Is he going to move on completely? Yeah, I'm sure he is. But that's just the nature of things right now.
Yeah, I think he looks in great shape. And kind of like Josh was saying, we've never doubted Gabe's abilities and his determination. I do think the one thing that has been the one thing with him that's really hurt him is the booking. And it's in both companies at this point, because he's out here saying he's representing Death Riders, but in AEW, he's clearly been just with the dogs in the last couple months with Feelings and Connors, and then Death Riders, they're like kind of doing this quasi babyface thing where they're training. Will Ospreay's their young boy. They're training Ospreay to get ready for Wembley because Ospreay
needs to learn how to work.
Yeah, he needs to learn how to work. He's this young whippersnapper that doesn't hasn't been the best wrestler in the world for like the last 6 years.
No, he's just a young boy now.
And so yeah, it's just a very weird storytelling of like, all right, he's representing the Death Riders, even though he's part of the dogs now, and I don't know, it's just very weird what they're doing with him. It doesn't really make sense for either brand. I guess they're trying to pull in the Death Riders connection because of Umino, But like, if that is not leading to Umino actually facing any Death Rider, then what's the point? It's really weird.
Some of it is what you said, it's booking, but some of it is also self-fulfilled because he chose to make himself the lion mark, you know, it like literally the embodiment of the lion mark, you know, 2 years ago, and wrap that into his persona. No one made him do that. He chose to do that. And then when the creative shifted and it made the whole thing confusing, he was the one who still had to try and stick by the logic of like, I'm loyal to those who are loyal to me. But it's like, if you make your entire persona like I'm New Japan's Tommy Dreamer, and then you go and you sign with another company, don't be surprised when people can't take it 100% serious when you are like, I'm AEW in it, you know?
Van Damme says in AEW, Ospreay's more of a Death Rider than Gabe Kidd.
Yeah, I mean, and at this point, he's not even really a Death Rider over there anymore, right? Like he's the Dogs now, right?
Yeah, there's like a loose affiliation between the Dogs and the Death Riders, but the Dogs are clearly heels. Death Riders are like tweeners.
Whatever Moxley wants them to be this week.
Right, yeah. You know, it feels like Moxley wants to be the top babyface while the rest of the group are heels. And
then the funny thing is, like, the last time he was here, he was cutting those, what Trish alluded to, shoot promos where he's like, I tried this shit and it made me sick because blah, blah, blah. And it's like, these are real life, real world frustrations that he's voicing about, you know, why it didn't work out for him in New Japan. But like, we've had conversations with like Japanese people over there where they're like, I don't know what the fuck's going on behind the scenes with the company. I only know what's like on the screen. And so they get confused when they hear insidery stuff because they don't understand what it means or where it's coming from, you know?
Yeah.
It's confusing.
Yeah.
And then even when he is still like accurately doing it, it still is counterintuitive to the character he played just a very short period of time ago. It makes him look like an unloyal and like discombobulated person, like who can't figure out who he is or what he really represents or wants to be. And that's so counter to his performance, and his delivery is so self-assured and he knows exactly who the fuck he is and he means it when he says it. But when you take a step back and you're like, well, a couple months ago you were in New Japan, and then a couple months later, you know, like these alliances and stuff you have, they just don't bear out what you're saying. The actions don't match up with the words. It's confusing.
Mm-hmm.
And some of their most successful characters, you know, going back, have always been ones where you always have like, you might be this, but we know underneath that this is you, and you've lost that now with Gabe because of all the kind of convolution and stuff. So people can't really identify with that as in a way that they could a couple of years ago, even as a face at the heel. And yeah, the promos they're messy. Like there's some of the stuff with Shota, and it's like, oh, you know, get your dad to go to the office. Like people in Japan don't know that. Like, what are you talking about? He's a referee, you know? So I just think that some of that stuff's unnecessary. I think there's enough to him that he doesn't need to rely on that stuff as much now. And I know it's like an easy thing, and you're thinking, you're right, he's trying to like put the pieces together in how do I make this work? But there has to be a time where you can just be, I'm Gabe Kidd. And we've kind of come away from that.
Yeah. Still, Burger Bun says, if I roll my eyes when Gabe Kidd does his NJPW, I'm AEW in it routine. Am I getting worked?
A little, but it also aligns with what we just talked about.
Yeah.
But it is like, you hate this company so much, why you keep coming back? You don't want to be here, but you're working a G1 tour. Like, no one's forcing you to work G1. You don't got to work G1. Like,
right. MJ says it's the best outcome for Shooter, a possible Death Riders feud ending with a defense versus Mox.
Yes. Actually, I hadn't thought of that, but you know what? He's right. That probably would be the best case scenario for him in this situation.
But will it happen? Probably not.
I don't know. It's January 4th. Why not?
I don't know.
Let's look at the calendar. What's AEW got going on that week?
It's more about what does Moxley want to do that week.
Well, he would love to work Tokyo Dome. That falls on a Friday, so it just depends. Do they need Mox on the 2nd for Dynamite? Does he have enough time after that show to like get to Japan to do the match?
I'm sure he does, but does Mox want to put them shoulders down for Umino? It's the big question.
Oh, I never said anything about him losing. What are you talking about? The fuck are you talking about, dude?
Oh no.
All right, kid, you're gonna hit me with the second chapter. I'm gonna kick out at 1. And get you on top rope, do a super death rider, put you out real nice.
Mox not losing to Umino in the Tokyo Dome. Crazy.
Oh man. Well, let's move on to the semi-main event. IWGP Junior Heavyweight Title. Direct Drive Yo defeats Doki in 17 minutes and 57 seconds to become the new IWGP Junior Champion.
Someone, I don't remember who it was, but someone was in the live New Japan chat saying that I needed to take my liberties when it came to this week on the show, when it came to Yo. And I was like, I've been taking my liberties when it comes to Yo for 9 years now. Like, what do you? And then he was like, oh, what I meant was, you need to basically apologize for the run of success that he's going on and, winning this title and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, hey, bro, if at the end of the worst junior title run of the modern era, Yo turns around and knocks out a 2.5-star match in the semi-main event of Dominion, and that is his crowning achievement of his entire career. Hats off to the guy. Success, mazel. Congrats, bro. Happy for you.
Oh my gosh.
Strong 2.5-star match, in the semi-main event. Good job, Yo.
It feels like a crazy decision to have this in a semi-main event rather than Aaron Wolf. And I know, like, they obviously thought it was a big moment for Yo. He sold, like, crazy amount of tickets for Ota for the final, for the Best of Super Juniors. But, like, what this match is going to be. Like, we don't need to pretend. We knew where it was going to go. We knew what was going to thing. And they're both very formulaic at this time. And that's kind of a sad thing to say about Dookie because, he once was just a great wrestler to watch for a period, and now he is House of Torture. So, yeah. I don't really have a lot to say about this one because I didn't feel anything. And I'm fascinated by the Yo connection. I was asking people that were at Otta last week, just explain it to me. Like, what is how is it just because he's been around a long time? Is this the Goto thing, but on a different scale, or what is it like? Because there's nothing that feels different about him or things that would create that sort of enthusiasm. And they'll give you kind of the basic stuff, but I don't get it. And I think there's a difference with sometimes when something seems to be working, like for a crowd or for a thing or to be successful, that we just say oh, that means it's good, but this isn't good. So I don't know.
It's like mass psychosis, right? Some people jump on and then they're like, "Oh, I don't want to be left out. Like, this guy's good. He's getting over. I like him too."
Yeah.
I don't hate him. I just don't feel anything. And
I think it has something to do with the poop.
What?
Well, no, just follow me here. So they always talk about when you're trying to get over with a crowd, right? You need to find that common connection. What is that thing about you that you like, that you do, that helps you to relate to this audience so that they care about you and that you can show that you're one of them? And it's I think he has found the one thing that no one else has ever dived into in the entire, in over 200 plus years of professional wrestling. all humans poop. And this guy is obsessed with poop, and he talks about it, he plays with it, and
it's just like that museum that's in like Odaiba. They have like a poop museum in Odaiba, don't they? Right?
Van Damage says, cult leader, yo. I think there's this primal thing where it's like we're all ashamed of this, and he has lifted that shame to be like, no, this is a beautiful thing. It's we all share in this human experience, and
everybody poops.
And I'm gonna champion it for you. And I feel like in Japan, they're probably like, there's some repression there, and they're like, fuck yeah, this is our guy. He's going to bat for us.
Oh man.
I know they're repressed because when I was in the stalls, right, and you're using the gays, they got like sound machines that you can turn on, and it'll make noise so people can't hear when you're doing your business. Like, if that's not shame on some level, then I don't know what is. So that tells me him lifting the veil back it's got to be. That's the only thing I could think of why people love him, honestly.
If I was to guess 1,000 reasons that you'd come up with for why people like Yo, I would never have got that one.
Shitty wrestler. Makes sense.
Oh, man. Yeah, I felt like the junior title being in a semi-main event here was like a here, damn. Like, we've been complaining for years, like, why are they sticking the junior title on these random Corkins and not on the big shows and the big spots? Like, fine, you want a big spot? Here you go. Yo and Doki, shut up and enjoy it.
Thanks, Desperado.
But yeah, it's what we expected. All shenanigans. You had How the Torture running around, Watto being a geek and getting laid out, and yeah, eventually Yo was able to overcome what instead of the direct drive, gets the pin on Doki. He gets the win, and then Sho jumps him. He wants a title shot, and then Watto attacks Sho, or Akira comes down, attacks, and Fujita gets out from commentary and sets up a four-way where the winner will get Yo at the final Corkin of the Road to G1 tour. Then we had some questions here. Franco 720 says, do you think Yo's BOSJ win boosted Dominion's attendance?
Couldn't hurt.
Yeah, possibly. Quite possibly. There's obviously something that we cannot see that's leading to people actually going out and buying tickets for this guy. So, yeah, quite possibly.
Yeah, maybe. Siamese Twin Cobra says, young boy, I'm sure is thrilled about fast fashion Yon Cena finally winning single soul. Who beats him for the title and when?
I don't know. I don't know how long he carries the belt. To me right now, and this is a carryover of our discussion last week about the end of Super Juniors, the junior division is just this nebulous thing that just it exists. I don't know what it's for, who it's trying to get over, what the story they're trying to tell is. Like, I guess this was as satisfying a potential story ender for the Doki terrorism run as you possibly could get. And now Yo is going to get an opportunity to run with the title, but I just have no concrete ideas for like what that even looks like or how long it lasts, what the overarching theme or story is. Like, I know that I've been criticized for saying I don't know in the past, and I know some people are like, well, damn, come up with a story, but it's like, I can't even, this thing has no corporeal form to me. It's just ether. It's just out there.
I guess they can do the Watto thing again, and maybe that's where they go with it. But I struggle to, every time I think that you can make some sense out of the junior booking, it just goes six-way to sideways, and yeah, it feels like it's stuck in a cycle, like in a loop, in a way that maybe the heavyweight division is starting to come out of, and like compared to 23, 24, and this one's still just playing the same hits over and over and over again, with kind of less interesting results, maybe.
I feel like the two things that you could probably say if you were just trying to be optimistic is you could be like, well, Watto has a chance to chase, or you could say, oh, we can get back to the Fujita match and finally crown him. But if you're being a pragmatist, then it's Desperado, and Desperado's going to beat him in the dome and win that shit back, and everything will be right in the world the way it should be with the junior division, with the king back on top.
Or the other thing is, obviously him and Show are always linked together, so.
Oh.
Stop it. That's like the fourth one now.
Hey, I'm just, saying facts.
I expect them to do that.
I'm ready for Hiromu to come back and beat this man is what I'm ready for.
Oh, man. And yeah, similar question from Ginger and Fringer. How long do you see Yo holding the junior title? Could he really walk into Wrestle Kingdom as the champ? And yeah, like we're saying, I feel like the junior booking is just so up and down. I mean, sure, he possibly could, or he could not. I don't know if there's any
lose it in October,
any clear direction for this division right now. And it just seems very stale.
And we're talking about a junior division that didn't have a junior title match at Wrestle Kingdom this year.
Yeah.
Right.
Rambo and Slam Pick says, did seeing the 4 challengers for the junior title come out after the junior title match make you feel differently or better about the booking of that division?
Nope.
No.
No, because the 2 guys that came out that are truly deserving to be at the forefront in Francesco Akira and Kosei Fujita, it just made me lament how they were handled in Super Juniors and where they're at right now, why they aren't a bigger deal than they should be, Yeah,
I'd be a lot more excited if the junior picture was Akira or Fujita defending against each other.
Mm-hmm. How come Eagles didn't get to come out? He was in the fucking Final Four. What the fuck are we doing?
Yeah. HP Brad Valoria says, Yo ranked first on female fans' favorite NJPW wrestlers, and he won BOSJ in the title. Do you think that they'll book the G1 the same way? Ren Narita did rank top 5 as the top heavyweight out of everyone.
No. Yeah, no, the other thing with female fans is like completely true. Like the Otter, it was like compared to normal 50-50, it was like 70-30. So they did show up. But Ren Narita, no. That like if you go back and you look at like popularity surveys, so you'll see the same people in like over there years and years and years, and it doesn't mean anything. So they don't always go with that.
Yeah, if Ren Narita's winning the G1, then something's gone wrong.
Yeah, if Ren Narita's winning the G1, I don't think you're going to have a podcast the next week.
Well, let's move to the main event here. IWGP Heavyweight Title, the Gene Blast. Yota Tsuji defeats the Prince Callum Newman in 24 minutes and 32 seconds.
I think that when I watched the match, I didn't pick up on it was so early for me that I was kind of out of it. So I'm watching it live as it's occurring. I'd just woken up. But I'm noticing something's not entirely on with these guys when it comes to timing and pacing. Like the chemistry was just it was dragging in a way that it wasn't in the first match. And it was kind of surprising because when the match first started, things were really fluid. Like I liked how crisp and fast and like familiar these 2 guys were with one another. In fact, there's one, no one else is going to pick up on this maybe, but I loved when Tsuji did a drop down. And
tripped him.
And he tripped Cal Newman off of it. And I'm like, you can count on your hand how many times in your lifetime you've actually seen a drop down actually work. But that's what the drop down is for. You always see people jump over it. So I loved the way that they did that. It was pretty incredible. But at some point in the match, and I know we're going to talk about it, but after the match was over, everyone was discussing how there seemed to be an injury and that it was probably Callum. And I did notice that the match just when it didn't seem to get into the next gear down the final stretch like it was supposed to. It was slower and kind of weird. And then for a match that went 24 minutes, it felt abrupt in the finish. Like they went to a closing sequence and it was like for a lot of matches, 24 minutes, that's a pretty long, lengthy time. But this felt like they had a lot more to go and it just sort of got wrapped up. And the finish wasn't super surprising, the fact that it was Tsuji, but the way that they did the close was like he hit the Gene Blast, and then he hit this new Raging Fire Blast or whatever it's called, and then pretty much picked up the win. And I was like, oh shit, he beat him. Like okay, I guess that's it. Like, they want to put this guy over strong, but the match was in no way bad, but it wasn't as great as you'd hoped it could have been between these two guys. And it does feel very much like the shoulder injury was probably the main culprit behind that.
Yeah, I think you can see, like, I'm kind of the opposite. So, like, anything like that happens, my light little antennae goes up pretty much straight away. And you could see that they went straight pretty much to the finish, because they had like a period of time where like Red Shoes was checking on Newman, and then you could see him kind of going back and forth between the two, and they just went straight to their finish from there, really, which was just like straight into like first sheet blast, second into the fire blaster, the new kind of thing he's doing. So it was like, it's a shame. It's one of them where you could see what they were building towards. You had like Tsuji selling the kind of the midsection and the arm as well. He loves to work a body part now. It's kind of like to be worked on, I guess it's the phrase. But and they were playing on Callum kind of being overconfident and not having the experience, but still playing on it. And obviously they didn't even get to do anything with him like trying to do anything that was like not down the middle. And I guess you can work with that now, because you can still work with, he tried to do everything he did everything the right way and he lost. So you can work that into his Ospreay story now. But they never really got to that final phase. And there were some really cool kind of nice exchanges in the middle as well that I really enjoyed. There were some crazy spots, like the stomp through onto the table. He just kind of rebounded off of it and then straight into like the fence was just mental. But it's like, it's always a shame when a match where you're building it up and you had a really great match at Sakura Genesis, and then you aren't able to follow up in the same way that you want to because of something like this. It's just unfortunate. And you can see, I think you can see Tsuji was quite shocked, like kind of shook afterwards as well. It took him a little bit to kind of get his way around again before, doing the speech and that sort of thing. You can see Shingo talking to him too, and while Jake and Kira were leaning over Newman. So yeah, it's just a shame. It's a shame. Hopefully it's something that when they get all the results from back, it doesn't mean he's out too long. You don't want him missing the G1 potentially if he can. Or even like Forbidden Door, he was definitely going to have a role there. So it's like, it's a shame for him and for it to go this way, because, they have, up to now, seem to have pretty good chemistry between them. And I think both of them improved so much in terms of putting matches together and like sequencing and all that sort of thing, and just the way they impact as well, and with the crowds and that sort of thing. So it's a shame. But I enjoy what we got. But I can imagine something much more with that last kind of 10, 15 minutes or whatever it would have been building up to a finish compared to this.
Yeah, I was really enjoying the match. Like Josh was saying, a lot of the opening sequences, like I felt like it was very fluid. There was a lot of great counters. Tsuji did that the knee off of the Oz cutter was great. And yeah, there was a lot of really great counters, and the body selling was great. And yeah, I felt like they were building up with something good, and then the spot Tsuji does the over the head belly to belly. Newman's coming in too fast, lands on his shoulder, and that's when Red Shoes is like trying to figure out what's going on, and then they go to the Gene Blast finish right away, and Tsuji wins. So it was kind of like what happened there, and then you start hearing the reports, and you look back and you see what happened, and it makes all the sense. And yeah, it's a shame because I feel like they do have great chemistry, and this was probably the chance for them to have that match level contender type match, and they didn't even play into the whole Ospreay's not there, so is Newman going to cheat? Like you got to think that was coming at some point, and so I feel like there's a lot of the story of the match that was left there. Probably we're going to go at least 10 more minutes, and so we lost all of that, which could have made this match really great. And so it's unfortunate, but I think like we all expected, though, Yota Tsuji wins the title back and is going into G1 as champion. And lots of questions here on this one. Death Triangle 720, Drawer, and HB Brad Valoria all asking about Tsuji's new theme song by Popstar.
Bro.
It's what, May J or something like that is the star.
It was BAD is what it was. It's not a bad song, but it's not a good pro wrestling theme. I know that we have different sensibilities abroad, but compared to the music that he had prior to that, it was just like, this is not an upgrade. I don't understand what the thought process was here, why this was a good idea to change this.
Look, this is something about being European because it's a little bit Eurovision-y, so it probably appeals definitely much more to my sensibilities than it would to you. But I think for like the big entrance, I think it worked quite well. Actually, I thought he looked like a level above what he has previously in presentation. I just thought it was badass in terms of like, oh, this is cool. Like he actually looks more like a star than he has done. With more generic music, but I don't know how much well that works in like a Korakuen or some tiny venue in Hamamatsu or something. But obviously, I think there's an effort going on with him right now in terms of his marketing. So not just like obviously getting a pop song or that sort of thing that's going to appeal, but they're definitely marketing him far more towards women now. They're pushing it, like the Instagram thing and all that stuff. You can see it. You can hear it too. Like the press conference with him and Callum was just like he slammed in through the table, and all you can hear is a woman going, Yoda. I was like, okay, so it's working to an extent, but they're definitely pushing like his presentation to be above standard progress. And whether that works or not, obviously we'll wait and see. But yeah, there's something different to it. Yeah, it appeals to me, but I can see why it wouldn't to others as well. And there seems to be like a little bit of a transition what they're using. Look at what Nuben's theme kind of is. It's a little bit different from what we've seen previously. I guess I'm just happy to move away from the era of everyone having the same grunge new rock song for every promotion, it feels like. So, or everyone having the same kind of drill rap stuff in when it comes to like the War Dogs and stuff. So I'm for it. I can understand people not liking it, and I guess we'll see it more once it's been used on a regular basis, how that works. But I thought the entrance was cool. I thought he looked cool. And they've been looking for something extra of him for a while, I think. So
yeah,
sorry.
I think the one thing about it that kind of worked after I found out later, like the song's called like Fire or something like that, and he had the fire in his entrance. So when you kind of know that, like, all right, there's some kind of cool connection there. But overall, I didn't really love it. I just feel like maybe that's like a VTR song or something else. But I loved his previous theme and thought it kind of set stage, and you get the big kind of monster roar and then the slow dun 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 kind of build up, and he rises up and has that kind of triumphant dun 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 dun, and then he comes out, and I'm just like, yeah, let's go, like the man is here. And I just didn't get that vibe with the new pop song. But again, maybe it's just us, and maybe the crowd loved it. And maybe
I don't think it's bad if what Trish said, that it's just a special big match entrance, then that kind of changes my opinion on it. I'm worried. I thought that this is going to be his new entrance.
Oh no, I think it's going to be his. I think it's going to be his new entrance, but I think it would work better as just like a big match entrance. It reminds me of when like the Kenny theme thing that he did at Dynasty, and it worked in like that big stadium, and then just doesn't work on TV at all. So it's kind of similar to that, but I think they're going to use it all the time because it's a crossover, especially. But I would prefer them to make it a special entrance, and then you can do all the fire shit that you want.
Yeah. But Holy Almighty says, if Callum Newman wasn't injured during the main event, would he have retained the IWGP V4, or was it always the plan?
No, it was always Tsuji. It was always Tsuji. It was never not Tsuji.
Yeah, I think that it was all, if you follow tea leaves, like it was always kind of like we talked about earlier, like TV Asahi, like we got the big win in January with Wolf and Tsuji. We're going to run it back and do the same thing here. Defrango 720, do you generally think Tsuji's no outsider challenging persona will last? To put the V4, that got cut off there. Yeah, do you generally think Tsuji's no outsider challenging persona will last?
I thought Josh was going to go.
No.
But no, you don't think it will last, or no, you're not going?
No, I was gonna allow you to go first as the guest.
Oh, okay. I didn't want to jump in. In terms of like outsider persona, in terms of like what, like he's not defending against outsiders, or just his anti-outsider?
Yeah, I think his whole ruling of like, yeah, I'm not going out anywhere to defend the title. Like you got to come here, and you got to be. Well, actually, you have to be just a roster member, because the global title was what he was going to defend elsewhere, and like the IWGP is like, no, this is just for domestic New Japan talent.
I don't know about the outsider thing of people coming in and not being able to challenge. I think that'll probably fall by the wayside at one point. But I do think there is some sensibility to the other thing that he said. And I was thinking about this earlier today. And, if you think about like the Madison Square Garden show and how kind of fucking cool it was to see not only just like a IWGP defense, but actual change. And then I think about like Royal Quest and how cool it was to see the first one in like the UK. And it's like these things used to feel special. Seeing an IWGP title match was like, it felt like important. And then in the space of like 4 or 5 years, we've gone from that to it can't even be top of the card on a strong show. And that is quite a fall from grace. And I do think that, whether you want to, take the work shoot, whatever stuff is out of it, and it's not, when you make that point about reestablishing the belt, it's about undoing a lot of the damage that they've done themselves, rather than it being some sort of interpromotional kind of war thing. So I think there is absolute sensibility to it, to being like, actually, no, I want this belt to be the most important thing, whether that's being driven by someone above him to him or whether it's him. Then saying that we're going to continue to have this thing basically presented on these shows or anywhere else at the same level as a mid-card title, because that's where we got to. And I don't think that was healthy for, the future of the promotion. It's not healthy for trying to sell things off the belt, which is what it's there for. It's there to sell tickets. It's there to be a draw in itself. And they were really, really in danger of losing that for a large period of time over the last 4 or 5 years. So him being like the voice of that, and especially because he is very much a Naito disciple, God, if everything Naito said got run through from Tokyo Sports got run through AEW Twitter, we'd all be like, I'd have to have left years ago. But it's like, he's always going to be vocal, I think, about how he feels, and it's always going to be a mix-in of work and shoot, and I think that's something we're going to get used to. But I don't think his actual premise is a bad thing, because they do need to do something different with this belt, and if you are going to bring back the V4 and you're going to change it that way, then yeah, absolutely, protect it. Like, what is the benefit of this belt being on any show in the middle of the card, defending against whoever? Like, top of the card or nothing. And that's the only way you're going to help to reestablish what this means, because it needs to feel special again. And maybe you won't be able to do that with the cast that you've got now until somebody gets really, really hot. But I don't see the harm in trying to protect it rather than just kind of throwing it out there, And especially, it's very funny, all this, because it's like, we're talking about a show that the AEW Men's World title isn't being defended on. So it's like, it's pointless. But in general, I do think that it needed to do something different. And I think you could feel like it was different at the start of the year. And then obviously we did Jake Lee. But it's like, you do. But that's the only way you're going to do it. Like, we can't go back to what we were doing last summer. We have a title change that isn't even in the main event. Like, what does that say about what the world title is now in New Japan now? So, yeah, I agree with the premise. Whether he'll continue to make the comments and stuff, he probably will. I said he learned under Naito, and that's a dangerous person to learn under when it comes to Tokyo Sports. So he probably will, and it'll continue to work people up in a way that I don't think I'd see anybody else manage to do quite recently, to be honest.
I agree with everything Trish said there. The one thing I'd like to add is he doesn't have the white belt anymore, so part of the purpose of creating this delineation was to facilitate, like, this is what the white belt's for while I have it. This is what the black belt's for while I have it. Now he doesn't have both belts, so there's not as much worry going on as far as like, what is the purpose of these titles? When do I work with them? But yada yada. He will continue to make the cheeky comments. He is going to continue to be a disruptor and a rebel rouser and a homegrown guy and wave the Shinihan flag. But there's no reason that he can't wrestle everybody for the title or wrestle abroad with the title at this point, because he doesn't have the white belt anymore.
Yeah, and I really like the points that Trish made, because, I think back, we were there in the building for MSG for Okada versus Jay White, and, like, that was like one of the most special moments of the weekend. It's like, oh my gosh, like we're seeing the V4, we're seeing the IWGP title being defended in person. It's a rare thing in the U.S. We're getting to see this awesome momentum moment. Okada wins it back. Like it felt super special. And then obviously post-COVID, you're getting these more U.S. shows. You're getting these random world title matches, and then Forbidden Doors in the mix. You're getting Jack Perry challenging for the title. You're getting four ways. You're getting the title is kind of devalued in the West. And I think, if we can get it back to a point of where you go to the show and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm seeing an IWGP title match. Like, that's where we need to get back to. And also, I think there's a way to get to that while having it being defended. You can come to the States. You can, make it special in Japan. You can bring outsiders in. Dan Coffin says some moments. Yes, it was a great moment. But yeah, I think there's a way to get that luster back and elevate it, and I think that's what they need to do. And I think Tsuji is a great guy to defend the V4 and kind of get things back to what they should be. Next question from that dude named Menace. What did you think of all the title switches on Dominion?
Could have done without the tag.
I think that this is usually a good point in the year for them to do a lot of title switches. It makes sense. There was this feeling that maybe part of the reason that they're doing this was like to create this reset for the new stories that they're wanting to tell moving forward. But there was so much complaint from fans in the West who just looked at the show on paper and said, oh, it looks like shit. And then you look at the talent involved, and we were reviewing it last week. Like, no, it's a really good card in terms of talent, but it's going to come down to the creative. And a lot of the matches on the show were good, even though they probably didn't usually live up to as good as they potentially could have been. But I felt like I was scratching my head most of the time at a lot of the switches and changes and directions, and not even just the changes on their face, but the way they did it, the reasons behind why they did it, how they did it. Like, that's where it got kind of confusing.
Yeah, overall, I think also the tag title switch is probably one that I probably would have kept it on KOB. And also, I think Wolf needed to win the never title, but yeah, Yo getting a junior title. Also, there's other people I would have rather than Yo, but I mean, I guess it's gonna get off Doki. Tsuji was always gonna get the belt back, so it seemed like a lot of title changes made sense, but some of them was like, yeah, how we got here and what's going forward doesn't always make the most sense. Next question from Siamese Twin Cobra. Who does Extreme Cream Yodatsuji defend against post G1?
Oh, man. I hadn't even thought about that. Like, who else is in the block with him?
So he's got Takeshita, Sonata, Shingo, Jake Lee, Bolton, Goto, and Great Okan. And then the two playing.
Well, it feels like Goto is like the de facto guy that they could easily get back to. So there's that. We also don't know what the field looks like with like potential play-ins and things like that. So, there's always the potential that they get back to like him and Zach, or, him and Callum potentially in like playoff rounds where they like earn a title shot. So if I had to guess three names, those would be like my three top names that I would guess would be like Zach, Callum, or Goto probably.
Yeah, I think Goto is definitely a good shout there. I could potentially see Shingo, upsetting him and getting a win in the block. We'll talk about Shingo kind of.
No, he already had his title match this year. He only gets one.
There's been some years where he's gotten more than one.
No, I look back. It's like one a year. That's it.
He can bank it for next year. Yeah, that's
Dan Coffin said moments.
Yeah, I pulled that up already.
Oh, I'm getting tired.
Yeah, Goto's probably the number one pick there. Let's see. Next up from Ginger and Fringer. With Tsuji and Andrade being tied, do you think we will ever see a third match between the two, this time for the world title?
With who tied?
Tsuji and Andrade. They're 1-1.
Potentially. I think they could get back to that match, but I wouldn't be too surprised if they don't, because that's a way that New Japan has handled a lot of like programs between two top guys, from different companies. You trade wins back and forth once, and then they never touch again.
Yeah, I don't really see them having a third match anytime soon. Tim Hunter says, should Tsuji be doing Forbidden Door at all? And if so, how would you book him? Because of his statement, anything but a proper main event, which he's obviously never going to get, makes him look kind of bad.
Yes, I think that he has that's accurate. Last week I was listening to One Nation Radio, and there was a pretty funny segment that Rich did talking about who in AEW right now is, potential challengers on the right level for where he kind of views the IWGP is at this point in time, given the talent level and everything like that. The one title match that I was thinking of, he eventually got around to it, was like one of the last things that he listed, but it took him a while to get there. But as soon as he started listing names, and I thought about it immediately, I know it doesn't fully line up with the rhetoric Tsuji's had, which is like, it needs to be the main event, needs to be, blah, blah, blah. But I think I could get pretty stoked for a Shibata versus Tsuji match for the title somewhere towards the top. I know it might not be the main event, but like, we're never going to get it in Japan. And that's on the table. There's also, I've said this for many years now, I've said Samoa Joe is just one of those guys that it's like, it's a dream match. You put him in, he can take the loss. He's totally fucking fine. And he's the right level of guy to have that type of match.
Yeah, I mean, Samoa Joe would be awesome. I think he's going to do a movie or something, but yeah, he would be a great guy to defend against. I mean, Shibata, if it's like regular Shibata, not Ops Shibata, then yeah. But yeah, I mean,
see, I'm not watching, so I don't know like what's going on with Ops.
Yeah, he's pretty much a cameraman for Hook at this point.
Yeah, but it's Forbidden Door. He can dust off, the black gear and the towel for one night.
Yeah. So yeah, I would hope that they have something for Tsuji that's creative, but yeah, I would want to see the title in an elevated spot. I don't want to see somebody like Jack Perry challenging for it.
Well, given right now that the main event seems to be this multi-man cage match and the world champion's involved in that, and that's gonna main event, I don't think we're going to see either title. I think there's a good chance Tsuji doesn't show up or defend, and we just won't have either company's title in the mix.
Yeah. And last question here from NJ. It says, think back to your wedding day. How many wrestling-related tweets did you send, and were any of them bangers?
Well, as many of you know, I'm not that active on social media. When I am, they tend not to go over that very well. So I think I've had like one or two tweets ever that have blown up from our channel, and none from my own. So I can't remember anything that I tweeted out on that day.
Yeah, I can say that I did not tweet out any wrestling related things like Mr. Ospreay on my wedding day.
Oh, was he tweeting?
Yeah, he responded to Tsuji's Tokyo Sports thing about Forbidden Door, and essentially he's like, why don't you, instead of complaining, why don't you just challenge the top wrestlers in the world and elevate the title and elevate New Japan to the point where it is the main event on Forbidden Door, blah, 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 blah. So essentially he was kind of defending AW and knocking down what Tsuji was saying.
If I was Tsuji, I would start shooting on him the way that Gabe Kidd was shooting on. I'd be like, why the fuck didn't you sign an autograph for that little kid in Oda City Ward Gymnasium on January the 6th? What the fuck was that about?
Yeah.
Why are you such a dick all the time? Why do you have such questionable friends in the UK that you're always covering up for? Like, what the fuck's that about? You know, I'd start pulling that shit out. Receipts. Be a better human.
Well, we did. Looks like we lost Trish. I'm not sure if she's going to make it back on. So,
thank you, Trish.
Yeah, listen to the Trish and Sarah Wrestling podcast. But we'll kind of go through these last few things real quick and then wrap the show up. So, with the road to G1 Climax, so with Okan Hanare winning, Great Okan got a spot in the A block, and Hanare got a spot in the B block. And then the play-in matches are set for Corkin on June 23rd. So Taichi versus Yuto Ice, winner goes to the A block. Yoshihashi versus Aaron Wolf, winner joins the B block. Oscar versus Yujiro Takahashi, winner joins the B block. ELP versus Oiwa, winner joins the A block. Kind of hard to imagine that, Knockout Brothers don't get in, Aaron Wolf doesn't get in. I'd be very surprised if they go with ELP over Oiwa.
I mean, would I love to see Taichi in there? Sure. You know, and is ELP always perfectly serviceable and acceptable in a G1? Sure. But this is just that year where it's like Knockout Brothers should not be getting eliminated. And there's no fucking way that you shouldn't have Aaron Wolf or Oiwa return, or be in the tournament. So that's where like it takes a little bit of the excitement out of this, where it's like they absolutely should be going through. Trish has returned to the studio.
I'm so sorry. It wouldn't be me if there wasn't technical problems at some point.
All good. We're just talking about the playoffs for Corkin June 23rd.
But I think we have some questions about the upcoming lineup.
Yeah, Death Triangle 720 says, any matches from the G1 lineup so far that excites you?
I think I'd like to see Shingo and Tsuji, actually, just for my LAJ heart.
Yeah.
And, I want to see Oscar and Wolf. I just want to see how they go. I don't really have a particular match I want to see, but I do want to see how both of them go in their block.
Yeah, definitely Tsuji, Shingo. I want to see Hanare and Wolf.
Ooh.
I feel like that'll be a big banger match right there.
Yeah, I think Takeshita and Wolf is like the first one that like pops out to me in the A block, and then in the B block for me, Newman and Kid is the first thing that I'm like, I haven't seen those two guys against one another, especially with this current iteration. That's interesting to me.
Yeah,
but things are going to get much more interesting with these blocks once these last four guys fill them in. Truly.
Yeah. Live Valuable 381. Any hot takes going into the G1?
There's a 0% chance Aaron Wolf wins the fucking G1.
That's a good one, actually. I quite like that one. I guess you had the one earlier that is now a hot take, is that I don't see Shota winning the G1 in the way I did that month ago either. So
fuck you, Shota.
Let's go Bolton Oleg.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
I don't see it though.
I don't see it either, but that would be hard.
Although
I'd be happy if he pins Tsuji for a match. I'd be happy with that.
Oleg and Wolf in the same block. Interesting.
No, if Wolf wins, he's in B block. Bolton's in A.
Okay, I misread it. I saw B and I thought he would be play in winner B getting into the A block. So then take away my first hot take was I wanted to see Wolf against Takeshita. That doesn't even make sense.
Well, that could be a playoff match.
Yeah, I don't think Wolf's actually getting to the playoffs though. Or maybe he will, I don't know. Then at that point, I just want to see Takeshita and Tsuji run it back.
Do you think that'll be the Chicago match?
I have no clue. I'll be there though.
Could be.
Jeremy won't.
Next question from Different 720. Anything you'd like to avoid for this year's G1?
Jake Lee.
Jake Lee should not be in this tournament.
Yeah. And Sonata.
I don't want to see any Sonata matches.
Yeah. Let's get rid of that.
I think, the A block, like, it seems like it has bigger stars, but when you start boiling it down, you're getting a Sonata match, a Jake Lee match, and a Great Okan match most nights. Buddy.
Boy,
oh boy.
Ah.
Yeah, like the B block, bro. Someone play the saxophone.
Speaking of B block, being Bredis is fun says B block has ZSJ, Umino, Umura, Narita, and Newman. Assuming he still completes after his recent injury, only 3 can advance to the playoffs. Who do you think needs a playoff appearance most of those 5?
I don't know. He lists a lot of people. Who was it?
Zach, Umino, Umura, Narita, and Newman.
I don't know. That's very subjective. Saying who needs a playoff spot the most. A playoff spot can mean a lot of different things. You know what I mean? Like a playoff spot doesn't automatically mean an elevation or anything. We've seen guys like Great Okan and Tala Tonga get playoff spots, and it didn't mean shit for them.
Yeah.
So I'm very dubious about like answering that and being like, yeah, Uemura going through that means something.
I think you're only really looking at who makes the semifinals and the final, and mostly really just people remember the final, right? So,
right.
Yeah, that means something in the way that you want it to be in a G1 final, rather than just to be, the play-in guy that gets beat by whoever's going to the semifinals. Yeah, do you remember the wild card and like NFL playoffs if they don't get anywhere? Probably not. So
right,
we trying to advocate for Callum to break this this G1 record this year too.
Next question from Ginger and Fringer. Do you see Wolf getting into G1? And if so, how strongly do you think he'll be booked?
I think he's going to get in. As far as how strong he's going to be booked, it's really tough because I think he will be a guy at minimum. He finishes with 8 points.
Yeah, that's like your never champion. Normally it's like 4 and 5 kind of guy.
And that's like minimum, but I think 10, if I was really guessing, I think he finishes with like 10. Which that's 5 wins. That's a huge ask.
Yeah.
I think it makes sense though. It makes sense with the level they want to push him at. Like if you want him to be at that level, then he has to win.
I think it makes sense that he's got a lot of white guys in his block. Just saying.
Yeah. Then other stuff coming up. So like I mentioned earlier, there's going to be a 4-way number 1 contender for the junior title. Also on that Corkin, the 23rd show versus Vegeta versus Akira versus Watto. The winner will face Yo on July 6th in Corkin. And then the Tiger Mask retirement matches are set for July 7th. He's doing double duty. He's going to be facing off against Black Tiger Magnus, and then Dynamite Kid Tommy Billington. And Noah Russell asks, what's your thoughts on Tiger Mask and his retirement tour and his retirement show coming up?
Congratulations. Happy for you, bud. Wrapping it up. Good job.
There's not a huge amount to say, is that I'm glad he's he's in Arena Mexico this week. I think he's teaming with Mystico. Yeah, he's teaming with Mystico on Friday. So he's getting, a little run out of it. And Corrigan is probably about the right level, I guess, for a send-off. So, yeah, fair play.
Will they have gotten rid of... will Shinjuku Face be torn down by then, right?
I think it's closed by then. Yeah.
So that makes sense why it needs to be, because that would have been the right level, but it's gone. So that's why I guess they got to do Corkin instead.
And they're putting it on a card where they're putting other things as well. So I think it works perfectly fine.
That was a joke about what level he deserves.
I can't take jokes on like normal time of the day, let alone 3 a.m.
Yeah, I think these are two cool matches. Also, the Black Tiger, the history there, and then the Dynamite Kid match, which people have been trying to book for the last couple of years now. And
credit to where credit's due. Shout out to Joe and Rich.
Yeah, they've been banging the drum for that. And Tiger, he was supposed to do it in the States, I think, last summer, and he, something happened. He's probably like, I'm going to milk this for my retirement. Why am I going to do this in like a rinky-dink GCW?
They've been fighting for it for a long time, and it didn't happen, so it's finally happening. I'm sure they're going to be tuning in for that.
Yeah. Well, we're at 3 hours. It's super late where Trish is at. I think here's a good point to wrap the show up. So, Trish, thanks for joining us this week. Go ahead and get your plugs in real quick.
Oh, you mean I've got to do the thing I'm not very good at? That's all.
Yes. And tell the people just a smidge about the fantastic newsletter that you guys are always working on.
Yeah, so you can find me if you want to listen to more audio over at Trish and Sarah Podcast. We're back next week. There's always lots to talk about, but that's where you can find us audio-wise. And for me, what I'm going to properly push is, head over to socialsuplex.com and visit the Social Suplex newsletter, because we have probably the best coverage of Japan as a totality that you will find anywhere, and it's all free. And that's a rare thing to say in this day and age. So, we have some fantastic writers from all across the globe, and who give you an insight into promotions that you just don't see in that much in depth in many places anymore. So it's a great resource. Yeah, please make the most of it. That's it, really. I'm not a big plugger. I don't know. I just, we really enjoy being part of the network. We really enjoy what we be able to do, and it's great to come and join you guys and just discuss New Japan, because rather than me boring Sarah silly with it, and we had some good times this year too. But let's keep running.
That's not entirely true. I like to hear Sarah's hot takes on Kadani and Sale.
She tolerates me. That's all I can say.
Check out the Trish and Sarah Wrestling Podcast. Check out the Social Suplex newsletter, and support everything that Trish does, because she rocks.
Thank you.
So that's going to be it for this week. Next week we'll be back. We'll review the Blue Justice show and cover all this news and answer some of these other questions we didn't get to this week. And remember, if you want to watch our show live or listen without ads, sign up at patreon.com/KIStrongstyle. You can also make a donation by visiting socialsuplex.com/donate and clicking on the donate button under the Keeping It Strong Style logo. Make sure to connect with us on social media on X, Blue Sky. Follow us at KIStrongstyle, at SocialSuplex, at Jeremy L. Donovan, at YB_Josh and Liger on Facebook. Follow us at Facebook.com/SocialSuplex in the Wrestling Squared Circle Facebook group. On Reddit, I'm the Pro Black Guy, just Keeping It Strong Style. On YouTube, we're at Social Suplex. You can join our Social Suplex Discord server to interact with us and other wrestling fans. You can email me, Jeremy, at socialsuplex.com. And check out all the other shows that we have here on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. One Nation Radio with Rich and James. All things elite with Floyd and Austin. Imps, AW Adventure, Wrestling Art with Chris Slings, the AW Match Guy with Sir Sam Brown, Tone Talk with Allie, Ann, and Leah, the Trish and Sarah Wrestling Podcast, and Joshing Around with Tim and Eric. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a rating and review, and we will catch you next week on Keeping It Strong Style, the ace of podcasts.
Ichiban.
Thank you for listening to Keepin' It Strong Style. We'll see you next time.